I don't, because we're going to be over here. All right, so I just got to find the live stream here. Oops. So welcome, guys. Just bear with us for a second. We're trying to get things going here tonight, and I want to make sure that we're able to get more of just me sitting here in front of the camera. And okay, just bear with me. I gotta get my phone logged in somehow.
Oh, well, since I know your password.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about whatchamacallit. So, guys, this is the Car Guy and Six Fan Show. My name is Jason, and we do have a special guest here live in my garage tonight. He's come all the way from Kansas, and he's going to pop his head in here right quick.
Hey-o!
So, Grant and his wife have made it all the way from Kansas. They're in this neck of the woods visiting, and we knew we were going to do this live stream. We're pretty excited about it. But we want to get the other camera set up. So we're just going to shoot some pool, have a few cold snacks, and chill out with you guys. So if you just want to bear with us for a few minutes, we're going to get the other camera set up. So just
how about this? I can carry the show while you.
There you go. You carry the show.
I guess that's what the group effort's about, right? So here we are, live from Canada. Well, welcome in, everybody, and thanks for showing up with us on a Friday night. It is Car Guy and Six Fan Show for the first time in 8 seasons, not on a Thursday night. So we appreciate you being responsible adults and figuring that out and being here. So special thanks to King Eric, the greatest of all, Gary Mathis, Everything's Broken Garage, the Bandit, and I'm sure we have some others in here, but don't want to mess around with somebody else's computer. Oh, Uncle Squirrel. Holy cow, you bombarded the chat there with a bunch of fun comments, but welcome in, everybody, and should be a good time. I think what we're going to do tonight is something a little bit different, and if you ever watched craft beer pours back in the day, we're going to do a little bit of that. We're going to do a little bit of CP, the Tool Addict action, and maybe mix that with a little Mortski repair. So, yes, the Bandit, you have pretty much nailed that one. I am very happy tonight. So, Ed Lacine, or I don't know if Jason knows that name better than I do, but welcome as well. So, all right. Well, on vacation, and it's been great so far. Catching up. Hopefully, you guys are watching my stories on Instagram and things like that, keeping up with the trip. But I guess now is the point where I'm out of material. And
hey, you took on that role.
That's true. I did ask for this. So, well, what questions do you guys have for us so far? As Jason's setting up an alternate camera shot, happy to answer those. T Pat and Pat.47 Fargo. Hopefully I got that right. Southern Ontario, checking in. We'll welcome into Car Guy and Six Fan Show. Well, this is how you know we were getting older.
Yes, I know. So, thanks for carrying the show there for a minute.
Did I really carry it though?
Kind of. I can't seem to get logged in on my phone, but that was the plan today, was to get the phone set up so that we can kind of shoot as we play some pool.
Shoot.
Shoot and shoot. Who all's in there? We got Southern Ontario, Canada checking in. T Pat and Pat 47 Fargo. Hey, welcome. And King Eric is there. Did you drive the Grand Prix there? Well, in fact, he did.
Yeah, it made it.
It made it about 20 miles outside of Kansas City. And then they hopped a plane right by the airport.
Exactly. And made our way to... Yeah, no, we flew into Manchester, New Hampshire, and we've been doing a giant loop. So went through Montreal a couple days ago, and then through northern Maine. And now we're here, New Brunswick.
Welcome.
Beautiful.
Welcome to Canada, eh?
Hey. Where the $100 bills smell like maple syrup.
They do, and we proved that tonight.
Yeah. It's totally legit. It's for real.
I don't know what's going on here. I can't seem to get logged in.
So I guess the recap is we spent too much time drinking beer at the local
brew pub. So We're not operating on all 8 cylinders here tonight, but hey, we're going to have some fun and chill out with you guys if we have to bring the fun back here to this little corner and have a few
more brewskis. Do I need to go get another round?
We should.
All right,
We totally should. I noticed that my wife only brought 3 glasses out. What?
Are we doing shots already?
Well, already we started with 2. You know what? Let's just see what's going on here.
Do a little shout out to Philip. Are you allowed to?
Sure. The Bandit jumping in there with a $10 super chat. And he says, Grant, this is for a drink. It's Friday, buddy. Hi, Jason. Love your truck. Thank you very much, Bandit. We appreciate that. And speaking of super chats, if you guys remember, at the end of every season, we've been keeping track of super chats from everybody. And they don't go unnoticed. We make note. We want to make sure that everybody who donates to the super chat has the opportunity to get something in return. So we will write that down, Bandit, for $10. Ooh,
all right, so I'm putting you on the spot.
Boulevard.
This is the Kansas City special. So Will's Wheels would know what exactly this is.
Is Will's Wheels in the chat? Yes, he is. So we're looking at Boulevard unfiltered wheat beer, and this is my first attempt.
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
And then
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Okay. Oh shoot. All right. Well,
I that's fine. I would drink that.
All right. Well, tell me what I need to know about Old Highway here.
So Old Highway, it's a New Brunswick beer, and it comes from up the northern part of the province. And literally, the only reason why I bought it is because of the old truck on the label. So I tried it. I liked it. It's a citrusy beer, if I remember correctly.
It is. Yep.
So
it's got lemon zest and
maybe some grapefruit or something in there.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like a radler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, StreamYard did not send me StreamYard did not send me my 6-digit code to log in on my phone. So therefore I think we're SOL. We might be stuck right here doing this live show. America beer isn't Canadian. No, it's not. It's definitely not Canadian, but it's good. Maple syrup, Canadian bacon, and whiskey. That's what we're missing.
That would be a good combo.
Whiskey.
Like to use the bacon as the stir stick. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's what you do. Yeah, usually we have we usually have a topic at least that we know we're going to talk about before we go live. Tonight,
we usually do, but it's something that we just kind of decide at the last minute because we're always so prepared for the Car Guy and Six Fan Show. So tonight the topic of discussion is pull it out of a hat.
I think where we'll start is how about my driving impressions in Canada. So honestly, not that hard. But the rental car we have, growing up in the States, most speedometers I'm used to always have the miles per hour, but in small numbers underneath the kilometers per hour. However, the rental car we have, which is a Grand Cherokee, does not. It's just a digital gauge, and I figured out how to switch it from just the number printout over to the needle. But on neither of them, there's still miles per hour. So that was a little stressful trying to convert top of your head. Of course, I know a 5K is 3.1 miles. So
well, and Mr. Education here couldn't even figure out how to change it over in the car, from metric to standard. So
you figure it out.
I bet you I could.
Special Canadian.
I bet you we'll figure out the kilometerage on that Jeep.
And then the border crossing we went through, so that would have been Vermont to Montreal or to Quebec.
Yeah.
Sorry, I knew I got that backwards. As soon as we crossed, the lanes were super tight in this. It was a country road, but it was super narrow. I think.
So going up through Vermont, was it Highway 3?
I don't know. I'd have to ask them.
What was the name of that city? When we brought Dale back from upstate New York, we came back that way. And we were only within a few miles of the Canadian border when we jumped over to New Hampshire and come down
Okay.
interstate that way. But I forget what the name
Yeah,
of the
I'd have
place
to look
was.
that up. I don't even remember the town. We were close by, but
For what we went to.
yeah, the first border crossing. So yeah, if you're hearing anybody off camera, that's my wife.
King Eric, the greatest of all. Will Grant have to sleep in the garage? Yeah, so we've got an air mattress blown up for the pool table.
It's
So
basically given.
yeah.
Did you say 225?
Yeah, Canadian 225.
Do you have it pulled up?
Oh yeah, okay.
From the islands.
Yeah, so Plattsburgh. So Plattsburgh is where we went. So we came up this way, and we took a ferry over that little body of water there, and then it was just a causeway over here, and that takes you back
Okay.
into New Hampshire.
All right. Well, since we don't know how to do this, like the CP, the tool,
CP, the tool addict.
There
Yeah.
we go.
So
Slurring
what would
words
he
already.
do?
He usually reads comments in the chat, like 16 comments behind.
Oh, so if we scroll like way back to the beginning.
Yeah, see if there's a question.
So
yeah.
the very first chat was Uncle Squirrel spamming the crap out of the chat. Uncle Squirrel's Canadian, by the way.
But you gotta admire the persistence, really.
So the first real chat was Ryan, Everything's Broken Garage, says we really need to get those rodent traps installed. Must be talking about Uncle
Sure.
Squirrel.
That makes sense. That would make some sense.
1950 special deluxe, beautiful day in Saskatchewan. It was a beautiful day here. You guys have been, you talked like how many times today did you say you've been so lucky with the weather?
Yeah, like I don't know, every third sentence. Probably,
Yeah, and it's
so.
been like
It's probably
in the
annoying. to
mid
hear.
70s today. And even tonight, it's nice and cool out there. It's not bitter cold. Last week in here, you're sitting on the heater. I had that running because it was so friggin' chilly.
Really?
Yeah. So I had to have something to keep me going.
Keep going.
Is she leaving?
She left. She had enough, I guess.
Oh, too much of the Car Guy and Six Fan Show for her.
Which is good because she'll be a reliable driver tomorrow, while I will not be.
Maybe not. King Eric, greatest of all, way back before we even went live, says together at last. It's like a date. It's our first date.
The world's been asking for it.
Hartnett's Garage says he's listening while driving home from work, Hamilton, Ontario, just in a Timmy's drive-through. So in Ontario, Tim Hortons driving home from work. What better way to
Kick the
kill
weekend
some
off.
time by getting bored to death
From
by
these
the
two
Car Guy at Six Fan
who
Show.
have no plan. No
Oh,
plan.
I don't know why I can't get logged in. It says it was going to send me a code.
We could try. Would it be easier to try my phone? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. You need to carry the show again.
Okay. I'll do the heavy lifting, of course. Of course, we went on a hike recently, so I'm in good shape. I can do some of this heavy lifting uphill as well. So we already addressed the issue that I have to pass out here in the garage for King Eric. Looking for question marks. Question marks are a great indicator for us, by the way, on this side of the screen as to whether or not it's an actual question or not. So, everything's broken garage. Great question.
At some point, we will get on the topic of EVs.
Yeah. Let's wait till we're at the end of the 2 hours and we're really plastered, and then we'll
be able to tell you how we really feel.
Yeah. A Hummer EV. Now, I will say, so what I do like about the Hummer EV, if you're going to like dust off a brand and bring something back, like, I guess, let me take a step back even further. So like the Mustang Mach-E, I hate that idea that you took the Mustang badge to do, but I really thought what Ford was going to do was basically anything truck was going to be F-Series, anything SUV was going to be Bronco, and anything car was going to be Mustang, kind of like what Dodge did with Ram. So I think what General Motors did with bringing Hummer back, if you're going to do it, and bring it back exclusively as an electric vehicle, I don't know. I think there's some marketing genius to that, or there's something to that. I think that's a decent.
Well, the thing is Hummer for the longest time, although it was under the GM brand, GM platform, engines, everything, it was a brand in its own,
Yeah.
right? So even though it's been gone for 12 years, they bring it back as an EV and call it Hummer. Like, there's no question as to what it is. You look at it, you know exactly what it is because that's what it looks like.
Well, and if it fails, it's easy to kill.
Well,
right?
yeah, because it's already dead.
Yeah.
Really.
So,
Right? I mean, just
you could do the same thing with Saturn. Like, if you just want to do electric vehicle sedans for GM, bring back Saturn.
bring back Saturn and, bring it back as a sole EV. And if it's successful, it's great. Bring back the plastic panels though, by the way, because
Especially here in New
that was a
Brunswick.
great design. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I shouldn't say the
Less
only.
rockers. Hashtag
No
less
rocker.
rockers.
Yeah, hashtag less rockers. No rocker panels to repair. They were all plastic. Actually, they were still metal in behind, but no dents, cracked panels. You pull it off, you replace it. Like, they had such a good thing up until about whatever year it was, 2003, when they started putting it onto the J platform for GM and calling it a Saturn Ion instead of what was a small car, the SL1 or something like that.
You're asking the wrong guy. But no, that sounds right.
Yeah,
actually.
so they started
Number
putting it
2
onto
order.
what then became the Cobalt and the G5 platform. Even though they still had plastic panels, all the drivetrain was GM, and I think that was kind of the demise of Saturn to where we knew it when it first started. They had great product, they had great engines, they lasted, they were durable for a domestic company. They weren't using cheap crap to produce something that was no frills.
Like, they found a niche and it worked for them.
Yep.
And it's kind of surprised they didn't take it further.
So
King Eric's asking Oregon next, Grant. And actually, so part of what this trip's about is my wife and I are trying to go to all 50 state capitals. So we needed to knock off Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. So that's part of what this giant loop is. We still need Oregon. So maybe someday, Eric.
you guys made it to Washington.
No, not.
No, you went to Idaho. You
Yeah,
almost
we
made
have
it to
Idaho,
Washington.
yep.
Yeah. Was
Yep.
it 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2020, because that replaced our Iceland trip that was supposed to be in 2020. And by the way, thanks the Bandit for $10 for a drink. We'll when that hits Jason's account, YouTube takes 30% off of that, and then we convert it back to American. I'll definitely buy a drink with that. We'll see what I can get.
It shouldn't be too bad.
All right, so Will's Wheels has a question. How about that C8 Z06?
So C8Z06, one word. Meh.
So
I mean, I liked the idea of the C8 when it first came around. Completely different car, mid-engine, kind of resembled the C7 as far as aesthetics go in the front. So you kind of knew it was a Corvette, but when they come out with just the Stingray version at first, and then they start adding all the people who really wanted the performance and this and that, they had to wait for the Z06. Now that it's out there, it's old news.
Yeah. So I haven't necessarily read any recent press clippings on the C8 Z06. I heard a lot about it. Like, to your point, they talked it up in development a lot. And I think there stories of it. It was like bending the frame. There was so much torque that, like, on launch, it was like twisting the frame enough that they had to figure out how to
Make it more rigid.
Yeah. I haven't studied up on it, but similar comments to what Jason said. When the C8 itself came out, I thought they did a good job of making it look like a natural progression to see how you got there from a C7.
I don't like those answering questions from an hour ago.
All right. Well, there was one up there that.
Let's see.
Not the. There's one right under. Oh, Kip's here.
Is he?
Yeah. Right there.
Oh, yay, Kip! Welcome to the channel.
And honestly, so it was Shop Cat Industries asked about the new Camaro, which I know nothing about this. I haven't seen this.
Well, being a 2025, it's probably fresh news. I haven't seen much about it. So if Camaro is being an electric sedan, weird, yeah. I
Like,
don't.
why not call it the Corvair?
Well, yeah. Well, why not just call it something different?
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to take a muscle car from like a modern muscle car and one that's got a name from where muscle cars were muscle cars and try and make it something different, why not just call it something different?
Yeah.
Like they should have done that, you said earlier, with the Mustang Mach-E. They should have just called it the Mach-E or something.
Which Turlos said, I'm just bitter because the Mach-E doesn't come in beige. And I think it's a fair point. I think it's very well said. So,
How was the foliage in Vermont? And the reason why Kip's asking is because obviously he lived in Rutland.
so it's interesting. Like, we flew into Manchester, New Hampshire, fell in love with New Hampshire, went to Vermont. And I'm like, yeah, I think I like Vermont a little bit better than New Hampshire. Went to Montreal, and that was really awesome. But then when we came through Maine, we feel like we so far like Maine a little bit better than Vermont. Point is, we love them all, and the foliage has been great. Like, it's been, the drive this morning was fantastic.
Yeah.
To Danforth. So
Let's see. Ryan says it's easier to reuse a name than create a new one. I get it. You're trying to build on name recognition. The problem is that if you build a Mustang to be retrospective of the old Mustang, then it needs to be a coupe. It needs to be a muscle car. It needs to be a fun driving car. It doesn't need to be completely redesigned into an SUV and bear the badge.
or another way of saying it, with 55 years of history,
Mm.
why is the 55th, 56th, whatever it came out, year the appropriate year to turn it into a 4-door crossover SUV?
Right. You know, it's the same thing. Corvette's doing the same thing, by the way. Chevrolet is branding Corvette itself as a brand, kind of like Dodge did with Ram, that they're going to be coming out with a Corvette branded SUV. So it's going to be high performance, kind of like the, what's the Lamborghini's got one, the Urus.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, or like the Porsche Cayenne.
Porsche Cayenne, same idea, right? They're trying to take the name and turn it into something.
I guess you don't know until you try, right?
Again, that's the thing. Like the Mach-E, believe it or not, whether you like it or you don't, that's besides the point. The point is that it's become quite popular. There's lots of them out there.
Yeah, I've definitely seen more
I
than
know
I think I thought I would.
Yeah, says I know a guy who has one, says he absolutely loves it. Now, is it something that you're going to drive cross country in? We get talking about this EV topic all
Let's
the time.
just do it.
Let's just do it.
Here we go.
Are EVs of today made for cross country road trips? My quick answer is no. EVs are commuters. That's why they only have 200-300 mile ranges. If they wanted to be cross country goers, they'd be long station wagons with batteries that last 5 days and 10,000 miles. But that's not what they're building. They want them to be commuter to to in the future keep vehicles off the roads, potentially, harming the environment and with their carbon footprint.
I might qualify it a little bit differently and say, I mean, I agree with you. They're not a cross country solution as we know it today. Like without a cultural change, like without you mentally accepting the fact that, okay, on this vacation, as I'm mapping out whatever my path is, wherever my journey is going to be, is like every 250 miles or whatever it is, I'm going to have to pull over, find a charging station, and dedicate 30 minutes of my trip to not moving.
Right.
And that's just a whole, that's not how we know traveling by, I'm like, okay, we're going to eat and we're going to pee and we're going to do all this. This one stop's got to
you got 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll meet you back at the car.
So EVs are not that, but is it that wrong to change our approach, I guess?
So I want to go back just very, very quickly to Will's Wheels comment. It says the Mach-E should have been called the Galaxy. We're talking about new technology. We're talking about moving forward with electric vehicles and stuff like that. The Galaxy, space age, moving forward would have certainly, I agree 100% with that. Calling that thing the Galaxy and not ending it in a Y, ending it in a double E.
Yeah,
or something like
originally
that.
it was IE, but yeah,
Yeah.
you could have like what Chevy's,
Galaxy E with
Yeah.
a V at the end of it or something like that.
Well, what Chevy's doing with is it the new Avalanche? It's ends in E.
Yeah.
So the E's blue or
Yep,
whatever.
exactly.
Like, yeah, I think that's
I think that would have made more sense. I think it would have pissed off a lot less purists with the Mustang.
Well, and to your point, though, too, like, why not just try naming it something new altogether? And like, gonna kind of dip into a conversation we were having at supper was the Korean market. I think Kia does a really good job with their naming, and they're picking basically towns, cities in the Southwest, Telluride, Santa Fe. Like, I don't think I even knew Telluride was a city until Kia made
it.
a vehicle, right? And so I like pretty simple, but that has a ring to it, Telluride.
Yep.
Especially for a ride, right?
Well, it does. And one of the things that Kia, you look at anything Kia has today, with the exception of the Sportage, that might be the only vehicle that the same name that they've had 10 years ago.
Yeah.
All their cars changed their names. It used to be like a Kia Spectra, which was their entry-level car, and now it's the Forte or something. They're not afraid to make changes along the way. They're not afraid to choose a demographic. You know, when they brought out the Stinger back, 4 or 5 years ago, that it was a rear-wheel drive, twin-turbo V6, sporty little hotshot sedan. They had a target market for that.
Yeah.
And it was you and I. Really.
Idiots. No.
Maybe so. But here we are. They brought that car out, the Stinger, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't even think it's a name anymore. Right? They've changed it again to a more of a luxury on the same platform. And they call it like the K900 or some stupid thing. I don't know what it is.
I think Ryan brings up a good point. Maverick was kind of weird for a pickup for me too, but
Yep.
King Eric, the greatest of all, says, Grant, would you buy a Fairmont if they brought it back? Short answer is no. Mostly because I don't buy new cars.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's as simple as that. I guess what would the Fairmont have to look like for me to want to buy it? I guess is what I'd have to think long and hard about.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem with today is every manufacturer is moving towards SUV crossover base. So the Fairmont would certainly not be a car as we move forward.
Yeah.
Right. So
it'd be like a minibus.
Well, there you go. With a slant back. Right.
The future of a minibus.
Air cooled.
Yeah.
EV.
Air cooled your battery cells. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Kia Optima is still around. Is it really? Maybe in the States. In Canada, I don't believe it is. I think they've gone to a completely different rig.
So the Bandit. So first off, I'm kind of curious why I'm getting all the questions directed at me, Jason.
I'm not afraid. I'm not offended. I mean.
So he was, what do I think of the new Dodge Charger electric vehicle? I like the lights on the car and the fake exhaust sound. Laugh, 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 out, 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 loud, 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 echo in the room. Again, I haven't studied the rollout pics that much, but what I think the funniest thing for me about the fake exhaust sound is if you remember the movie Hitch with Kevin James and Will Smith.
Will Smith, yeah.
Kevin James's character is like somehow tied to an electric vehicle company, and they're trying to figure out how to mimic a V8 sound for an electric vehicle, and it happens to be a Dodge Charger in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So yep. I think that's the most hilarious part for me about the new Dodge Charger. But.
Well, crap.
Son of a biscuit. Well, Jason's still struggling with the whole StreamYard thing, which that's okay. That's fine.
Well, the thing is that in order to sign in on a new device, it wants to send you a code. So I punch in the email address that I want to send the code to, and it takes like 10 minutes for the code to come in. It just came in.
So how about this? So Jason and I, we talked about this, knowing that this episode is going to come up. We were going to be here live together. We bounced around the idea of bringing in some other channels to like pop in and out through this to like reconnect.
Oh, we totally failed on that, didn't we?
Yeah, just life got busy. We didn't send out any invites, but I'm thinking like someone like Will's Wheels. If you're interested in coming on for say 10 minutes or something, asking you a few questions. If you want, just text me your best email address, and we'll send you out a link, and we'll pop you on here for a brief moment, and we'd be happy to bring some other people in and out as the night goes on. But I guess right of first refusal, we're throwing out to Will's Wheels.
There we go. So Will, you get your phone there. So Will, if you want to text Grant and you want to be on the show for a few minutes, just to kind of hang out, shoot the breeze. The Bandit, Grant's wife went inside, so she's not here right now.
Can't handle the madness. But yeah, if you really, really, really need to like think, what does Mrs. Straight Six Fan look like? Go check out a previous episode of Car Guy and Six Fan Show here in season 8. We had both of the spouses on. So, okay, Will doesn't have a camera, so who do we want to bring Ryan back on from?
Yeah, Ryan, do you want to jump on here for a few minutes? Because if you do, I can send you a link. Just type yes or no on there.
So Paul, welcome in. Don't worry about being late. Show's just getting started. So
I don't think that's gonna work.
Oh, son of a biscuit.
Who was it that gave us the $10? The Bandit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't this fun when we have absolutely zero preparation?
Yeah, it's like you would think we
had like months to prepare for this.
So,
oh, Tom, my brother-in-law Tom's in the chat.
Oh, nice. Hey, welcome, Tom. Is he Tom the same one that has the Polera?
Monaco, but yes.
Monaco. Nailed it.
All right. Ryan, I got a link coming to you here. Bear with me. Grant, carry the show.
All right. So King Eric the Greaseball, now that we've gone off of the screen, so I can't exactly read verbatim what he wrote, but I think he said something to the effect of a friend of his has a 1930s era vehicle that wants to make an EV. Do you think that's sacrilegious, or would you consider it? I don't think it's sacrilegious. So I think some of the best examples of old car EVs are, there's two that come to mind. So Welder Up did a version, I think it was a Model B Ford 1931 or something, and they made it like the whole theme, you know, Steve Darnell likes his themes, but it was like electric chair, like, so this, like, I think that stuff was kind of weird for me. But if you think about that era of car, they're so light. I think they're a really good candidate for an EV swap. Second one that comes to mind is it's an outfit from Oregon, and they make real high end, like resto mods. I wanted to say it's Hodson Motors or something. I don't know, but they did a 40s Ford EV conversion, and they did a really good job, like making the motor and the battery cells like look like a motor when you pop the hood. I'll do some digging online and see if I can drop my phone.
Yeah, I want to pick that up. The Bandit says he wants a Car Guy T-shirt. So if you look down in the description of this video, Bandit, you'll see a link to my Spreadshirt store. You can head over there, and they're pretty reasonably priced. So we're going to jump in, and we're going to add Ryan. What's Ryan drinking tonight? He is drinking, Appleton. I got to unplug my other. Bear with me.
There we go. For a second, I thought after I dropped my phone, it wasn't going to turn back on. We're back. Okay. In the column of similarities, we have the exact same. So
really,
it's black. So I heard that's like.
How did we manage that? Oh, hang on, Ryan. I got the AV equipment going to the wrong set of speakers here. I got you going. You need Bluetooth speaker. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm. I can hear you.
There we go.
Uh-oh. Can I hear you?
Barely, but we can't.
Where am I hearing you from? Oh, I know why. I know why. Too many views.
Not a.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Is he frozen or is he just doing that?
No, I got you. I'm not frozen.
You.
No, no, no.
All right. All right. There we go.
Knock it all over.
Let's see. Ryan looks like he's a little computer. Just a little bit. He's got a problem, Turlo.
I do. Yes, I have a terrible problem.
TC Tom. I am in stereo, my phone, my iPod going at the same time, different screens.
Cool.
Shop
So,
Cat,
Brant,
welcome.
no trouble at the border.
No trouble at the border, even after you called in shenanigans
Yeah.
for me.
I gave CSIS a heads up, but apparently they didn't get it.
They don't take you serious enough, I guess. Is that the lesson to be learned here?
Yeah, probably. I call them
Okay.
several times a week
Oh, that guy again? Son
from his bunker.
of...
Who is that guy that's younger than me and has no hair?
That's
Sorry.
okay. Icon. That's who made the.
Okay, yeah.
That was sorry. 5 minutes later, right?
This is a professional live stream. Damn it, Andy, you're right. It is.
We're professionals.
So Ryan, what hot takes do you have on electric vehicles? Since that's what we just got done talking about.
Well, seeing how he's the one every week that pokes that friggin' bear.
So I have a story to tell about a Tesla, if anyone would like to hear.
A what?
No one does.
Tesla.
So actually, your time's up.
Oh, okay. Well, see you later.
100 answers are on the board.
A friend of mine ordered a brand new Tesla. I don't know what it was. We'll say it's a Model 3. And went to pick it up in Halifax, which is a province over. And they
take a
drove
ferry,
it
like a
from
10-hour ferry.
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
then
say,
10-hour ferry. And
drive like
yeah.
5
Anyway.
hours.
I know enough where he's at, and I know enough where Halifax. I'm like, that is not close at all.
So they went to pick it up, and they picked it up at the local Tesla depot. I imagine it's some sort of weird vending machine that pushes out Teslas. And they drove it to Cabela's because my buddy, so it was my friend and her brother, and I'm really good friends with the brother as well. And he went to go buy some new firearm because that's what you do when you go to Cabela's, which is like Bass Pro Shops, I guess. If you're
If you go to Cabela's too, like parking lot's always littered with Teslas. That's definitely
it is, right? Like it's the car you expect to see there, with like a Browning, sticker kind of camo on the side.
Yeah, I mean, shotgun rack in the back window.
Right.
When you order your new Tesla,
over the hood.
when you order your new Tesla, they'll ask you, well, which gun do you have, sir? Because we'll make an imprint in the front.
Do you want to put that on your
Right.
club member card? Your Cabela's club member card? And do you want to do the
so
plaid version?
Right?
Well, you get the flannel shirt to go with the
Yeah, and don't forget
Right.
the Crocs and penny loafers. We're fine.
Sorry, Ryan. Sorry.
You actually, if you look at a Venn diagram of hipsters and hunters, it's flannel that's the crossover.
Yeah, there
Right?
you
It's
go.
that little piece in the middle of Venn diagram.
Man bun.
Anyway, it was about 14 kilometers, so that's about 10 Freedom Eagles from the Tesla depot, and the car just shut down. Massive failure. Tesla
10
took
miles
it
away
back.
from where we picked it up.
How's that for a dealer?
But in Tesla's defense, they paid for all the flights back, and they freely shipped the car once it was fixed to Newfoundland, where hopefully it doesn't break again because there's nobody here that services them.
There you go. So
It's not even an Apple store.
No, we don't. We have a knockoff Apple store.
Okay.
It's called a Jump Plus store. It's when Apple doesn't want to install an Apple store, a Jump Plus store goes there.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
In
called
Canada,
Pear.
at least. I don't know what they do in the US.
It's the Pear store.
Yeah.
Uh,
Pineapple store.
King Eric, the greatest of all, has a Newfie joke. Ryan, I want you to read it.
Okay. The world will end at 8 p.m. tomorrow, 8:30. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. except on the big land. In the big land, it'd be 8 o'clock,
Also,
which is Labrador.
I think in Adelaide, Australia, same.
Yeah.
But it would be the day before that the world would end.
No, it'd be 16 hours in the
Give
future.
us a heads
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Upside down, though.
They have a half-hour time zone somewhere in Australia.
It's foolish. We talk about getting rid of it, but we don't know why we have it.
Maybe it's Tasmania. I don't know. Look it up.
Google.
Time zones are
Wikipedia.
weird.
More you know.
So, speaking of weird time zones and the communist USSR having one time zone, even though it's massive, how is your new license plate? I saw some lovely photos. On the
Yes, I was trying to clean the garage up before
This idiot.
showed up, and literally that's about the only cleaning up I did. Was I grabbed that off the bench and stuck it in the car, and I'm thinking, man, that looks great. I'm going to take a picture, post it on Instagram, and then I'm going to go to bed.
Done. That'll be clean.
Another successful day of work.
Oh, did you see this?
I did not. Looky there.
A Freedom Eagle.
A Freedom Eagle. 25 cents.
Is it copper or silver? Is the edge copper? What year? What's the date on it?
It looks like a penny on the side.
Yeah, no good. It's not illegal for us to melt down their currency, right? So if you can collect old quarters that are American, we can melt them down for silver scrap.
It's pretty bad that a penny's worth like 3.5 cents in copper versus the penny it's worth in monetary value.
Yeah.
Well, you know, most civilized societies have gotten rid of stupid pennies.
Yeah, we did.
Well, we're uncivilized and we love it. So
Yes.
Yeah, we know.
$5.
Oh.
Actually, I think you guys were supposed to get like colored money and the metric system at the same time as we did.
yeah, and then
Wanna
when
hear
you
me
guys
take
did it, we're
odds?
like, suckers.
We had that conversation today. We said, you know what? Right now in 2022, if the US wanted to switch to metric, they couldn't. But even if they did, they'd get about like 4 days in and they'd be like, fuck this. That's too much shit.
No, the place would just catch on fire. It'd burn to the ground.
I didn't mean to swear.
Because we didn't have a backstage.
That's okay.
Where's my edit button? I blame Biden. Everybody blames Biden.
It is Biden's fault. Probably. And I can say that now that I'm in Canada. Damn it.
Nope. Now you're on a list.
You're on the list. Good luck getting back into the U.S. tomorrow there, buddy.
Were you the one who badmouth? Yes, that was me.
So I've noticed there's some missing license plates up on that wall there. I don't see. Is there a Kansas one? I don't see a Kansas license plate.
Not.
Well, there's not because I don't have a Kansas. I have a Kansas one. It's over in the garage.
Okay.
I don't have one for my.
I gave my last one away to Rusty Glove Box. Do you know that name? He would have been. So when I was talking about the graduating class of fill in the blank, like my coworker Greg's garage, he was one of the in that circle.
Tom's is there. So
Okay.
Tom's in the chat.
So I noticed you have the Cordoba, the 79 Cordoba one. Why is that not on the brig?
In 2019, the province decided that they only needed one plate
Oh, right.
on the rear, so I took the front one off. That used to be the front one, and I've got a 1979 New Brunswick plate on the car now.
Nice.
On the front. So
Yeah, they've been debating in our House of Commons for about 15 years as to whether or not we can have customized license plates. And I hope by the time I'm dead, they'll have figured it out.
And what would you put on it?
Ryan was here.
I out of time,
Oh,
I really want to put an inappropriate DeLorean plate on something that isn't a DeLorean.
Ryan was WUZ. That's probably all it'd say.
Newfie, NEWFIE.
Yeah, that's our word. You can't use that.
Yeah, but you'd be the first one to have it on a plate. See?
Yeah.
Just put your name in the queue now.
The law that's coming in is you're not allowed to take the plate with you. So it has to stay on the car. So you can't get rid of the car if you want to keep the plate. It's not transferable.
Andy says he's got a Washington plate. I don't have a Washington plate, Andy, so I would gladly take that.
I feel like Andy's who we need to bring on next.
Oh, yes. Yeah, as soon as we can kick this guy off,
Yeah,
we'll get
I mean-
Andy on there. Or maybe we could just add Andy in there.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure. Keep adding people like the Brady Bunch or Skype or Zoom or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to tell you a funny story. My kids that I teach found out I had a YouTube channel. That was awkward.
End of story.
End of story.
They started commenting on my videos. which was awkward.
Would they just write one single word?
Yeah, hello, Mr. Hayward.
Yeah, there you go. Andy, reach out to me on Instagram with your email address, and I'll send you a link, and we'll get you on the screen. If you've got a camera, maybe you're using your phone or what have you.
King Eric the Great is actually 1949 we joined Canada, not 1947. We all remember it because it was a terrible mistake.
Yeah, we still don't like you.
Nope, you don't.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Grant, now's your time. Take the throne.
Yeah.
Take the throne.
Yeah, I have to do the same kind of thing too. So
Take the throne, Grant. Grant, take it.
yeah.
Sure.
Well, Ryan,
Now we're here.
I saw you sent me a couple reels over the past week, and on vacation I only pseudo looked at them, but it looked like Sean's got his truck running again. Is that what I?
Yeah. It was stored for most of the summer because he's building his new shop or setting up his new shop, so he hasn't had a chance to drive it. And yeah, he got it running again. It sounds great. It still runs terribly because it's carbureted, but fuel injection will fix that.
Yeah, fuel injection fixes all.
It does. Carburetors are terrible.
Fairmont Craze says I need to get another Fairmont. I'll be honest. Like I would say, since life's been really busy and it's been really hard to work on my Grand Prix and like progress much, I didn't think I would miss my Fairmont as much as I do. But I do, as with the weather being nice, I was like, man, it'd be nice to just have something that's done and go cruising in it. Yeah. So I do.
What car do you miss the most that you've sold?
Man. I mean, I think it's the Fairmont. I really do. Because I don't miss my 97 Ford Ranger. I don't miss my. I would say a close second would have been my diesel Jeep Liberty. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, CRDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cool.
It was like I loved it and hated it all at the same time. It was like,
did you have transmission issues? Because I know they were notorious for that.
No, but I think I had a chronic like air in the fuel line issue that would like turn it into limp home mode often, and
energy efficient mode.
Well, and it was because it was right around the same time that VW got caught for their cheating the EPA system.
Oh, it didn't.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Daimler Chrysler, I think it was Daimler Chrysler at the time. It may have been whatever. There was, I don't know.
Yeah, it was before Fiat because it was a deal with Mercedes for one generation of engines, and it was a deal with the Italian marine maker.
It was an Italian VMI Motory or something was the well, so when the US CPA rules came out, Dodge sold every one they made, or whoever, Daimler, Chrysler, whatever. Every one they made, but they only made it for 2 years. And when the new EPA rules came out, they basically were like, oh, more research and development? Yeah, no, we're just going to kill it. So what that means is like if you only produce something for 2 years, parts were like ridiculously expensive for it. Like the alternator, I remember when it went out on me on my way to work, I basically I took it to a local dealer just to be like, I didn't really want to do it in the parking lot of my work. And they called me and they're like, oh yeah, it's an $800 bill. $800 to replace the alternator, really. Like, well, the parts in the 500s to begin with. So I was like, oh, really? And then I went to my website that I trusted, and sure enough, it was a $500+ alternator as just an idea of where this thing. So, yeah.
So what's your thought on like why America hates diesels, especially in like passenger cars? Do you think it was because of GM's 1980 shag up, or was it, just
honestly,
it wasn't a V8? So.
I honestly have been thinking about this recently because I have a friend who is in the oil business down in Texas, and I was going to ask him to get a better understanding. From my understanding, like 30,000 foot view, it's more about U.S. It's more about what are regulations we have to produce the product.
Right.
More than anything, like if you compare our regulations compared to Europe's, they're just different in some capacity. But I'd really like to understand what those really are, because it seems like since diesel's cheaper to refine and manufacture and make, like, why?
And you can make it out of anything.
Yeah.
Well, I think that to some degree, you take EPA emissions kind of out of the, like, you take EPA out of the equation. And I think the people's mindset on diesels are, especially if you're in northern climates, they're cold-blooded, they're dirty,
Yeah.
they're stinky, blah, blah, blah. Like even when,
All right. I'm going to
go ahead, even when Volkswagen was talking about, clean diesel, and they were holding the piece of toilet paper up to the tailpipe and there was no soot, if that's in fact the way they're supposed to run, you've got to convince people that it's better, it's more fuel efficient, it's cheaper to refine. Then why are we paying X number of dollars more for it at the pump than gasoline?
Because it's what runs our economy.
Well,
Semi-trucks.
but that's just it, right? You've got to convince, you've got to give the people a reason to make the switch, right?
And that's why
diesel has to be cheaper than gasoline if you want them to make that switch.
Right. And for traditionally it was. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, diesel was like 45 cents a liter, right? And gas would be 60 or 70 cents a liter. And I don't know when, I'm guessing it was the last oil crisis that it kind of switched and became more expensive, because that's when I started running diesels. But, the kilometer per liter, I guess, or the miles per gallon, I find are better. Oh, look, Turlo.
There's Andy Turlo.
Here I am.
It's
It's a
like
fine roll page we had.
1 p.m. on the West Coast.
It is
5.
4:53.
4:53. There you go.
Almost quitting time.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
It's time for a shot. Cheers.
Yeah, have to.
Tell me that wouldn't go good on ice cream.
That's pretty damn good. Yeah,
That's
that would
pretty
go
good.
good
That's
on ice
good.
cream.
What is it you're drinking?
Fiddle.
Okay.
You guys have that over there?
We don't, but I know it.
Coke Zero.
Coke Zero.
Andy's ready to hard
I'm
stuff
drinking
tonight.
zero sugar Coke.
Put some of this in it. It's good in Coke Zero.
So,
So,
Andy,
so
how's
Grant,
the,
is Jason's
how's the
beard
hot
as
rod?
awesome in person as it is on YouTube on the TV?
It is. It is awesome.
It's very awesome. Thank you.
That is a righteous beard right there.
He's even let me touch it a couple times.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
Did you have to pay him for that?
No.
No, it's free.
Yeah, he hasn't got the bill for the overnight stay yet.
Yeah.
So this is Pump House Ale.
Okay.
It's New Brunswick, and this is their blueberry ale.
I'm interested. I'm ready for it.
It's good. It's great stuff.
Blueberry ale.
Cheers.
Cheers. So, Andy, how's the hot rod build going with your son?
Oh my goodness, we've hit a lot of roadblocks. He's in marching band, so that's kind of taken up a lot of his time. A lot of other stuff has come up, so it's kind of stalled out, which is kind of, I know, it's kind of unfortunate, but it's a big commitment to build a hot rod. So marching band's almost over, so we'll get back on it. I just picked up a car in the driveway right behind me. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna be able to see it. So there'll be a video coming out on that one here in about a month. It was my son Jason and I flew down to Southern California to pick up this car, 1,100 miles, that hadn't been run or driven in about 30 years, and that did not go so well. It did not go as well as it did for all the other YouTubers. So that's coming up. So
if only we could all be like Derek.
Yeah.
Right?
The channel your inner Derek.
Well, speaking of that, so friend of the show, Waylon Wire's Old Iron, he's started his cross country trek to go visit other YouTubers, and I saw on Instagram he posted a picture of his. He knew his heater core was going out before he left.
Yep.
So he just plugged the lines and went on his merry way. And then he got to Fargo, North Dakota and said, "Oh, shit. Bad idea." So
Houston,
he
we
was
have a
road
problem.
killing it a little bit with the space heater and the passenger floorboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd almost take a leaking heater core over.
Yeah.
They were talking about getting their first snowfall in Ontario this weekend.
Gross.
We got it in Labrador.
It's
Wow.
well, you guys are a different breed up there anyway, but
Andy, so explain the ride you're in right now. I see the cage.
Yeah, I'm in the Celica. This is my daily driver. Just a 2000 Toyota Celica with a roll bar. It's got a roll bar in it. I planned on doing a full roll. In fact, my plan was to do a full roll cage this summer and then paint it. I have in the video game Gran Turismo 2, there was a Toyota Celica was a car you could win on one of the races. I was going to paint it up with the Castrol livery, just like in the game, to make it like a video game car. I've got a roof scoop for it. I've got all the stuff. And then my son Jason wanted to do his hot rod project, so we bought a portable garage last winter so we could work it during the winter. And then his hot rod is taking up all the car space right now, so that kind of didn't happen. And then I've got some other videos that were planned that didn't happen because his car is taking up the entire portable garage. All the cars take up way more room when they're disassembled and parts than when they're all together. So you'd have no idea. Well, you might have an idea, Jason. Well, probably Grant too. You got stuff taken apart everywhere.
Yeah. The Grand Prix hasn't been in one piece in a long time. So.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I don't even know what a Celica is. What's a Celica?
A Toyota Celica.
Yeah.
What? Oh, here.
Oh, you mean Celica? They call it Ryan. Let's call it Celica
geez.
over here, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toyota boot.
Yes.
That's all I was getting at, Andy. I wasn't razzing you for what you had. It's just we call it.
Oh, I was gonna take the camera out and show it to you.
Go ahead.
All the clear coat peeling off and everything.
That was typical of the late 80s, early 90s.
Well, this is 2002, and it's had it's not the factory paint on here. It's had some panels replaced and some spray paint done, some cheap body work done, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Of course, I ripped the rear bumper off last year at a rallycross, broke the front bumper the year before, so it's had a rough life. And it keeps on ticking with 250,000 miles on it. It just keeps going.
Original engine?
No. The engine that was in it when I got it, I had it for about 6 months and it had a rod knock. So I bought another car that had been rolled, and I pulled the engine and transmission out of that and put it in here.
Awesome.
So
it was
Ryan,
like $250 for the car. I sold the wheels for $100, sold the exhaust for $100. I think I sold a few other parts for $100. So it didn't really cost me anything other than the oxygen and acetylene to cut up the rest of the car I didn't need or want. But I got a spare fuel tank, spare radiator, lots of spare door, because the driver's side door was the only body panel left that was usable. Every other one was bent. So I got a backyard full of parts still that my wife is just really enthused about.
I hear you. I bought a cube van to hide all my parts.
It's because my Bluetooth kicked in.
So
hold that thought.
Yep, Jason's gonna keep doing some things.
I highly recommend buying a cube van to put in your backyard to hide all the parts.
Yeah,
and it's only one thing in the backyard as opposed to hundreds. Pro tip.
I have a Dodge Caravan that was in my first video that I was using to store stuff in. But I've been accumulating vehicles for a while now, working on the same stuff. So it's kind of time to turn over the inventory here and do something else. So I had to take everything out of the van and put it somewhere else so I could sell the van, which should be a video, because I've had it listed for sale for 48 hours now, and the offers I have got on it so far are pretty comical. So that would be a good video on the stuff that I've got. That may be a video on what I do. I don't know.
Any interesting trades?
I was offered a Monte Carlo. I don't know what year, but I have enough junk already. So
Why would that be a relevant part of the equation? It's a Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
I want to say hi to the internet.
Hi.
Hey, bud.
This is Brandon,
Hey.
my son.
Hey, Mona.
Oh, his friends are out here playing.
What about yeah, I think that's a good conversation piece. Like, what are the best obscure trade offers that we've all gotten on?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's of course in my line of work as a used car dealer. I mean, you get people saying, would you take this or would you take that for a trade? And we get a lot of four-wheelers and motorcycles and that sort of thing. And I'm like, we're not. I mean, unfortunately, we're a used car dealer. We're not in that business.
Yeah.
I have no idea the value on these things, so I wouldn't even know what to give you. So you lowball them, and they think you're crazy because you're lowballing them. It's like, well,
They started.
exactly right. So you want to buy this $15,000 car, and you want to trade me a piece of machinery. I have no idea what the value is. Like, where do you go from there?
You've been offered tattoos for a car?
No, I haven't.
Have
No.
you?
Come to Washington. Tattoos, stuff you can smoke. You get offered all kinds of stuff for cars here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think it was when I was selling my Fairmont, I believe. Somebody offered me like a Nissan Maxima, and I'm just thinking, like, in what world, like how are you making this connection on the other end? Like you have a Maxima, I have a Fairmont, and you think we're interested in the same things? Like, help me out here, because I don't really get this one. Like, but it's 2000. All right.
So I want to kind
I've been
of
offered quads and ATVs. That seems to be pretty common here in the East Coast. Anybody who has a quad or an ATV or a skidoo of some sort, usually that's what you get offered. So I don't try to sell anything because it's not worth my time to deal with.
you just got to keep it all. That's all.
Yeah. Honestly, that's why my backyard's full. I hate selling stuff because this is what happens. You get people say they're going to show up, they don't show up. You get all kinds of weird
Always
offers. Yeah.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
I
I
want to kind of steer the conversation a little bit back to last Sunday. If you guys aren't aware, the Car Guy and Six Fan Show is powered by the Get Out and Drive podcast. And last Sunday was National Get Out and Drive Day. And I want to know if there's anybody in the chat who got out and drove. And if so, what did you drive? So I know, Ryan, you were kind of out in a little bit of a car show that weekend. Tell us a little bit about that.
So traditionally, I'm part of the Volkswagen Owners Group. It's in Newfoundland. It's a support
I'm
group for
sorry to hear
people who
that.
make terrible life choices. And we have an annual fall meeting we call Oktoberfest, where we bring our terrible choices to a field and commiserate on our terrible choices. But yes, it was fun to get out and drive. I'm glad to say all of us made it there. As far as I'm aware, all of us made it home. It was about an hour's worth of driving, which in a Volkswagen is pretty taxing. So yeah, it was good. It was good. We had about 100, about 150 people, probably 50 to 60 cars show up. Only about half of the tow trucks in town showed up as well, which was nice. Usually they're all there. They're like sharks, predatory sharks, waiting for one of us to break down.
That's like a cash cow for a towing company.
It is. It really is. They should just follow us,
Yeah,
like chum in the water.
No.
Just chum in the water. All we are. But it was good. It was good. We had hot dogs, and we're in actually a very historic town called Brigus, which is in about an hour outside of the capital city of St. John's. It's one of the older communities in the province. It's beautiful. If you get a chance to even Google it, I recommend it. It's a quaint little fishing village, but they give us basically the entire town, and we're allowed to take it over. So we turn it into a little Germany, and mayhem ensues. And there's unfortunately a lot of their grass is now oil covered. But I'm told that by the time next year rolls around, that should be fixed, so we can oil it again for them.
Weed killer.
Yeah, exactly.
Weed control, right? We invite the Volkswagen Owners Group every fall to control the weeds for the spring.
Every year, you guys should donate a new tree to plant, and to stake up the sapling, you can use like timing belts that you left behind from the year before.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea. Or, I just left my diesel idling the entire time I was there. I figured, we're here now. There's no fixing it. Might as well
Smoke
just
them if you got them.
full send, right?
Where
Well,
the
yeah.
roads are paved with Volkswagen parts.
Exactly.
Andy, how did you take in National Get Out and Drive Day on Sunday?
What did I do? We worked on I was working on cleaning up the yard actually. Did I get out and drive? I think I did drive the Celica a little bit. The Celica around town. I had to put gas in it.
Well, that's very worthy of a trip to the gas station if you're driving a Celica.
Yeah. Oh,
How much is gas for you?
I was cleaning up the Dad Rod minivan for sale. That's what I was doing most of this weekend.
Oh.
Was cleaning that up, getting it ready. I did drive that to the gas station as well, which I picked that 97 Dodge Caravan. I picked it up for free. It was I had some friends of mine that are moving. They're like, I don't know what to do with this. I told them, you're going to have to pay somebody to take it. No one's going to take it. I said, would you like it? No, I do not want it. They're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. So I ended up with it. Supposedly,
You got me.
it sat for about 3 years. Supposedly it had a blown head gasket because it kept overheating. I picked it up, towed it home, and then it wouldn't start. So I put a fuel pump in and then found out it was out of gas. So that was brilliant right there. But why start with the easy, obvious stuff? We're going to go right to the fuel pump.
Yeah.
Not getting fuel. Yeah. So then I found a cut in one of the radiator hoses. So I replaced that, and it runs. It's never overheated on me. I did that. My first 2 YouTube videos were on that van. The first 2 I posted, and then it sat in my backyard for 2 years now, I think. Figuring that I'm going to be a big YouTuber and somebody's going to want it. It's going to be worth a lot since it's my first video that was the van.
That's solid.
That has worked out beautifusly. That is a great financial decision right there.
Hold your breath on that check, Andy.
Yeah. So, that's worked out great. So yeah, we cleaned it up this weekend. I went and put a full tank of fuel in it and thought, it's at least worth the full tank of fuel and a new battery, but apparently not.
Yeah, $100, right?
Yeah.
Does it still have the cats on it?
Yeah.
Does it still have the cats on it?
Does it have what?
The catalytic converters.
Oh yeah. It's all complete.
Perfect.
It's all original, other than all the stuff I did, like put a very poorly done matte black wrap on it, which was full of wrinkles. And I put black on the headlights, and I mean it's all blacked out. I blacked out the wheels. It's all blacked out, but it still has the cats. It's pretty clean with 270,000 miles on it. It runs great. I don't know how long it's
So you
gonna
need to
last
find
on
the
it.
world's worst drug dealer.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that's the angle you take on the Craigslist ad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is-
attention, meth head.
You have no money.
I
Do you
think
like
the
the
meth
light?
heads are the ones that are contacting me to buy it.
Yeah, see, in the real estate business, they have handyman special. And in the used car business, they have mechanics special.
Yeah.
But in this case, you've got
Drug dealers delight.
drug dealer's delight. Right?
Yes.
It's got to
It's
slap
a-
the side of it. Say this thing can carry so many kilos.
Yeah.
Right? Take the seats out, pack it full.
Like build
It
a
had-
rack right behind
put
the
the-
sliding door. So he's like, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
You know.
It does have tinted windows. I put the Mortal Kombat emblems on the back, like on the Dodges. They've got like the
Weapon.
RT, the Super.
Yeah,
B emblem. I
obligatory
did a big
Mortal
circle
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat because with 270,000 miles, that thing every day is a fight for its life. It's one breakdown away from going to the junkyard. So every day is a fight for its life.
Yeah.
And it has beige interior that Grant just absolutely adores.
Yeah, beige.
Beige.
It rights all wrongs.
It's just completely drenched in beige.
Now, the Stelvio, is that the SUV?
Yeah.
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 Those, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I like every time I see especially a modern Alpha with the big grill in it, I think 2 things. So one, I think Edsel, but 2, I think they did it right. It's a modern day with the big hole in the middle, and it's like they're pretty sharp looking vehicles.
There's definitely a
Done.
brand of car that I forget about.
Yeah,
often,
like you don't even
but-
think about it. Like until you see one, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, they still exist.
Yeah, and then you know.
But now they're in trouble,
Sure.
eh?
They're
Are
around.
they?
Right? Yeah, because they've basically Dodge took the new Dart, is it? Or the new, and it's just a rebranded one of those for like half the price.
Oh, the Hornet.
The new Hornet, yeah, it's
So
one of the new
but
SUVs at half the price.
because it's owned by Stellantis,
Yeah.
Alpha, and Dodge. Dodge created a new smaller SUV. They called it the Hornet, which is basically like a
I saw that.
stripped down Stelvio,
Hmm.
and it's like $25,000.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, Dodge.
Well, it's no different than I know people who bought the new Porsche smaller SUV, and they're very offended when they open the hood and realize it's a Volkswagen engine. Like, I don't know what you thought you were buying, but it's a 2-liter turbocharged Volkswagen. Nothing special.
Well, it's the same thing when you go and you buy, if you go and buy a late 90s, early 2000s Mercedes C-Class, and you get that stupid little rectangular Dodge key that you got to stick in to start it with.
On
Right.
that Porsche, though, parts will be twice as much or 3 times as much because it is a Porsche, not a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Same
100%.
part, with just a different name
Well,
on it.
That's the trick with the new Land Rover Evoque, the little SUV. It's just
Yeah.
a Ford. So you just buy the Ford parts to fix the Land Rover, and
Yeah.
you're perfect. They're a quarter of the
There you
price.
go. Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle.
He is actually.
I've got an Uncle Bob. How about you?
I think everybody does.
No?
No Uncle Bob's. Jim's.
Jim.
Mostly Jim's.
Jim Bob.
Jim's
Right.
Bob.
Jim Bob. See,
Yeah.
close enough.
Jim Bob, yeah.
Yeah.
So Andy,
So do you-
what's coming down the pike for your channel, or what's your next adventure?
I don't talk much about work, but work has been, since the pandemic, has been brutal. The division of the company I work for was sold to another company, so there's this whole 5-year process of changing everything over. It's been pretty rough. So my YouTube channel has really taken a backseat on a lot of stuff. But I do have about half a dozen videos filmed. I just got to sit down and edit. I've got one urban stealth camping video that I've been working on for probably close to a year now, from the time I came up with the concept, and then we filmed it about 4 months later. And then I'm still waiting on some voiceover and some other stuff to add in. That's been a long thing. That'll hopefully be coming out here shortly. I'm kind of at the point where I'm just tired of working on it, and I'm just going to kick it out the door, and hopefully it's a blockbuster, but probably not. But I've learned a lot. Filming it, and then I've got the other car I went down to Southern California to pick up that didn't go very well, and I have more content with my son's hot rod. And what else do I have? Rallycross Fest 2022 with the grant with the Jeep Liberty. We got that already, and I raced that with my daughter at Rallycross Fest. That was a blast. I don't know if I put up some shorts and some stuff on Instagram. That car is so much fun, a Jeep Liberty to run. I mean, it's just it's got the track lock rear differential in it, so it spins both rear tires, so you can just Dukes of Hazzard it all around the corners. It's really real easy to control. To hold a drift in the dirt, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. I did some crazy stuff on the last lap, which unfortunately didn't make it to film. I had a guy following me in a drone on the second track we were at. I told him, like, the third run he's following me, I told him, hey, I'm going to do a 360 right over here. And I went into that corner so hot, I just slid like almost right off the track, and then spun it back around. I'm like, well, that didn't work out too good, but I did do a 360 later on, just nobody filmed it. So with my wife was in the car too, so that was a lot of fun. No one was expecting that, but so I got that video that I just got to edit, and just a lot of stuff like that.
Well, that's pretty cool. Like I think the idea, like, I watched some of your earlier stuff on the Jeep Liberty. I think you had a Cherokee you were kind of running it up against or something like that.
I do, yes. Yep.
Yeah. So I like watching those videos and the comparison. And one of the things I always noticed about the Liberties was they're quite comparable to a Wrangler in the fact that their approach and departure angles are very shallow.
Yep.
So you can get you can get certain places with those that you may not be able to get with a Grand Cherokee because they got such a large overhang in the back.
They have a really tight turning radius too. That was one of the things when we took the Grand Cherokee and Liberty out. Was Liberty just on a trail that's maybe a car and a half wide? You could spin it around pretty. Plus, you could put it in 2-wheel drive and then flip it around a lot easier. The Grand Cherokees that I have was all-wheel drive, and it has a tighter turning radius. It's really hard to turn around. But all the electronics and the suspension and brakes, quad track 2 or something, that helps a lot. Yeah, the Grand Cherokee, actually, I got that too. I just put that all back together and started it up, and it's got a leak from the head gasket. It's just pouring coolant out of one of the head gaskets that I just put this whole engine back together in a multicolored paint scheme. So I'm going to have to pull that out, and I have nitrous for that as well, that I need to do a video to put nitrous on it.
You know, for about $40, Rizlone makes a head gasket fix.
Yeah.
Pour it in.
There you go.
I've been told Flex Seal too. Flex Seal will work.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't know what that.
Cool. It'll be fine.
Flex Seal makes it float. Maybe.
Maybe. They don't talk up the heat resistance, that's for sure, on the infomercials.
It didn't float very good the first time I went through the small pond that hydrolocked the 5.7 Hemi. So maybe floating's not a bad thing.
So Dean K asks a question. I think this is a good one for the group. Would you drive or ride in a vehicle without a steering wheel? And I think I don't know. I think it's ambiguous enough that you can take that a couple different ways.
I think you could. I mean, obviously the question lies, okay, without a steering wheel, are the front wheels locked? So, you know, are you locked in a straight position? I could get on board with that. If it's rear wheel drive, then the front wheels are going to go straight anyway.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I
Are we talking about like vice grips instead of a steering wheel?
Well,
see, I think that's the beauty of the question is
it's quite open ended.
Up to you to kind of figure out what exactly are they asking.
Because I've driven a car on vice grips. Right. It's not that difficult because one side of the vice grips is always smooth. So if you're turning to the right, as long as you got that's the way you got the vice grips, it's just like this. But when you're turning back the other way, it's a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, if the steering wheel is locked and you got nothing to steer with, yeah, I'd drive one if it was locked. If it's not locked, I mean, you're taking your life into your own hands. I mean, I don't know about you, Ryan, but I think that if I had a pair of vice grips, yes, I probably would be okay with that.
If it was a traditional round steering wheel that was replaced with vice grip, sure. But what about like a tractor or a dozer that has 2 levers?
Yeah.
No steering wheel. You can turn.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. Andy, how about you?
Yeah, if I drive a car with a vice grip for steering wheel. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know. One thing I learned doing rallycross is the steering wheel is not really, you don't really use that for steering anyway. That's just kind of a direction suggestion device. You kind of suggest where you want the car to go, and then you're more steering with the throttle to control how the pitch and what you're doing.
Well, between throttle and your emergency brake, right? Like
actually, the first couple times I raced, I tried using the parking brake. It's actually a lot. If you ride the brake pedal a little bit, it makes the car whip around, and plus you can carry a lot more speed. If you pull up the parking brake, you're just stopping immediately. You're just putting you're just taking all your momentum away. But if you ride the brake a little bit, it transfers weight to the front wheels. It lightens up the back. The back tends to want to pivot around. Plus, you still have control. And then you're controlling that's really what you're doing on dirt is you're controlling the weight transfer on all 4 wheels. You're just trying to control what wheel you want to have how much weight, and that's going to determine which way you're going. So, yeah, I've tried using the parking brake before. You can do it, but you lose a lot of speed doing that. It's better just to ride the brake pedal a little bit. And that takes a lot of practice because the first time you do it, your face is in the steering wheel and you try to left foot brake. So it takes a lot of practice to get to the point where you can just give it, on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 2 or a 3. And then you got to ride it around the corner while you're inputting with the accelerator and your steering. So there's a lot going on. It's a lot of fun.
Well, if you live on Newfoundland, and I mean, all the roads are dirt, so you got to
Yeah.
learn how to drive
Well,
that
there
way
you go.
anyways. I mean,
Yep.
they
It's the
don't have
same in
pavement over
snow
there.
too. It's the same in snow. You want
You
to
know,
keep your momentum up.
we do have a tendency to have a lot of dirt roads, especially in the smaller communities. We actually host, or we did, I think it's canceled now, but it might be coming back. Targa, Newfoundland. It was a world
Yes.
rally event.
Yes. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It's stupid expensive. I think it's over $10,000 now to actually be in
Oh
it.
man.
But they offer a thing called the Bambino, which is a smaller event. That's about $1,500, I think. You know, I always wanted to put a cube van in it with a bunch of advertisement on the side, especially underneath, because you know you're going to roll that. Right? Like
Yeah, definitely.
roll the
Definitely.
cube van,
Yeah.
and whoever has the advertisement on the bottom of it is going to get all their money back in you know, whatever sales or whatever their product they're offering. So that was my plan. I mean, the guy who put the Enzo in the Atlantic Ocean, I mean, he did pretty good. But I think a cube van rolling was way more entertaining.
Yeah, like you could have like Joe's Cod Shack on the bottom wrapped around your drive shaft. People are like, oh, I got to call that number.
Oh, a great crash. I'm hungry.
My luck, though, I'd roll the vehicle the wrong direction and everything would be upside down. Like, wait,
Yeah, I can't even call the number. It's upside down. So the Bandit says he just bought a Dale T-shirt from my store. Thank you, Bandit, for making a purchase of my merch. If you're interested in getting a old CARRGUY T-shirt, whether it's the old CARRGUY logo, a Dale the Truck T-shirt, or a Focus on the Windshield T-shirt, they're all in the link in the description box below. I appreciate that.
All right, Bandit.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Does the Dale the Truck T-shirt come with a full tank of gas or like 3/4 of the tank?
I'm not really sure. I'll have to check on that for you, Ryan.
if you're saying
you gotta be
windshield,
careful
it's
because
a
it'll
half
attract
full
deer.
Yeah.
tank, not
I
a
mean,
half empty.
I'm an optimist. It's half full, Ryan.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Whatever
shoot.
Phytech tells you, you believe. Just carte blanche. You're just like I understand. It's full.
So it's flannel season, obviously, here in the States, as well as,
Of course.
well, here in
Aren't you in
Canada.
Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah, we invented flannel. Don't forget that.
So Jason and I just wanted to make sure that we let everybody
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
before we even met each other, we bought the same damn shirt at Old Navy. And so
Thanks to my wife.
I think I actually hand selected mine when I think.
You have
So-
the same taste as Jason's wife.
I don't know, let's put that on a bumper sticker.
Wait,
So-
so that means you are Jason's wife?
Dun dun dun.
The jig is up.
It's
We've been
legal
having-
now in Canada.
Yes. So the funny thing is that obviously Grant's in Kansas, I'm in Canada, way on the East Coast, and yet you can still go to any Old Navy at that point in time and buy the same
Damn
shirt.
I don't know how.
Have you guys
That's
looked at
great.
making your own flannel? I know that Derek does it now, and a couple of other people I follow do flannels. I don't know. Is that
I
something you've
did.
thought about doing?
In a moment of weakness last night, I saw Ken Diggett Designs has a flannel out,
Yeah.
and it was like lime green, which I'm a sucker for loud, obnoxious colors, and I did just go ahead and buy that.
Yet you
Yeah.
drive beige cars.
Hey, beige goes with anything. It's neutral,
Yeah.
right? So
Who doesn't like a good solid beige with some chartreuse racing stripes, you know?
Definitely. Definitely.
must be. A
Hey
can.
guys, hey, thanks for having me on. Thanks for inviting me on. I gotta head in and figure out what.
Yeah,
kind of
thanks for
mess I
dropping
got
in,
the
Andy.
house. Grant, if you
Yep.
ever come to Washington, look me up, man.
You got it.
Yeah. All right, guys, take care.
All right. Thanks,
Later.
Andy.
Have a good night. And then there were
Yeah.
3.
Glenn Nickerson says flannel season is 11 months out of the year in Canada.
It's true.
See, there's some guys that will wear a button-up flannel with the sleeves ripped off. They'll wear that in the middle of summer.
Right.
Fishermen.
Or flannel boxers or flannel pants.
We're bad, Chad.
You go to Walmart and there's flannel for days.
Can we have that discussion now?
Really?
I mean, we might get canceled, all 3 of our channels, but is it worth it?
It might be.
I think so. All right,
Okay.
so let's
Raise your hand if you like Bad Chad.
Okay. All right. Second question.
Next second.
Raise your hand if you can tolerate Bad Chad in some really small quantities, but then you realize you've been watching a hair too long. You're like, why am I still here?
Yeah, I got sucked in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, okay.
So, oh,
He was here. a couple of-
I appreciate his there's a lot of things he says in his approach, or I guess philosophically, what I love about him the most is like, I'm just gonna let the car tell me what needs to be done to it. Meaning, like, wherever there's a problem, we're gonna like address the problem like at a micro level, and then the whole composition will come together because we've just sort of looked at it that way. So I can appreciate that. But man, he just likes to repeat himself on a lot of occasions.
well, I mean, so is the guy talented?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
100%. No doubt.
Can he make something out of nothing? Absolutely.
Definitely.
The guy's got a gift for sure. I have a hard time jumping into his
Like the Pinto he made into
quirkiness.
I mean, it's like Dollar General version Ed Roth,
Ed Roth.
right?
Rat Fink on steroids in the South Shore of Nova Scotia.
But at the dollar store value.
Right. Yeah. No, and Hartnett's Garage says he's definitely a hard worker. I agree. I get that. And
Yeah.
like one of the things that I've learned over the years, you go to plenty of car shows and you see a lot of really nice, really shiny custom cars, and then you see something you scratch your head at. But regardless of whether you're scratching your head and it's your cup of tea or not, you certainly got to appreciate the amount of work that went into the work that was done to that car. Again, might not be your cup of tea, and I mean, Bad Chad is certainly not my cup of tea, but if you're watching,
Well, and while I've never seen any of his creations in firsthand, right? Like, I get the sense that, again, like from what I see on the YouTube or the Discovery Channel versions, he looks super talented.
oh yeah, for sure.
I suspect that it's a good quality level of work, but yeah, the whole composition once it's done is like it just makes you feel uncomfortable often.
Well, and again, we go back to Gene Winfield. Okay, so here's Gene Winfield, like 95, 96 years old and still working in his garage. But, you know, he's put out a lot of weird stuff over the years. Does it mean that his stuff isn't good? No, he's talented. He's an artist, and he knows how to take something and make it different. He's outside the box type of hot rodding. And that's exactly, I believe, where Bad Chad's coming from. Is it my cup of tea? No, it's not. But like I said before, you really got to appreciate the amount of work and knowledge that goes into taking a flat piece of sheet metal and making it into a fender or a headlight bezel or something.
It's like music. You know, certain people like certain music. Country music, I'm not hugely popular. I don't particularly like it. But I understand that it's, you know, there's a talent there and there's a lot of work that goes into it. I can appreciate it for its work value. Doesn't mean I'm listening to it every day, you know, but I can still appreciate it and understand that there is a lot of work that goes into it.
And, you know, Shopcat is telling me, you know, don't worry. He knows that his stuff is not for everybody. And you're absolutely 100%. He doesn't care because he's doing what he loves.
Yep.
You know, I'm like, when I work on a vehicle, my big thing is when it comes to working on working on cars is subtle upgrades, subtle whatever, and keeping a majority of what the creator wanted it to be. He's doing it outside the box. He's looking, you know, doing things differently. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and he doesn't care. And I'm okay with that.
You know, and I was supported by an Eastern Canadian person, you know, There's not a lot of us doing this kind of stuff in Eastern Canada, so we will support him as an Eastern Canadian.
Absolutely.
But it's not our thing, and that's totally okay.
I wouldn't even go as far as to say like everything he's turned out. I can't think of all of his creations, but I know there have been some like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's like, or that's, I like what you did there. I don't know what that success rate is for me. Like, might be 1 out of every 4 or 5, but again, it doesn't really matter what I think. It's his creation, and it's what he was.
Clock is right 2 times a day, right? A broken clock is right twice a day. So,
Yeah, and earlier I saw Will's Wheels had asked the question. He wasn't aware of who is this bad Chad we speak of. So for me, like I don't know if it was Motor Trend Plus or if when I had I think it's a Discovery.
It's Discovery before they bought Velocity.
So yeah, he's out of Nova Scotia, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
So Canadian, and I don't. Yeah, I found him first through that before the YouTube stuff. But yeah, he just has a tendency. Sometimes he'll like. Usually, I think I agree with his line of thinking when he's explaining what he's doing. It just gets really annoying because he repeats himself like 1,800 times over. It's like.
But I think that's like a Discovery Channel thing, because if you watch like West Coast Choppers and all those type of shows, it's a lot to fill 30 minutes. I mean, they could easily pare it down to 10 minutes of actual video and it'd be fine. They got to fill those 30 minutes or those 22 minutes, whatever the metric is.
Well, we all have catchphrases too, but like, man, I can't remember. Well, there's just one episode I was watching and it's like, I maybe watched 8 minutes and 15 times and said something to the effect of like, car's going to tell you what it wants to do, okay? Car's going to do what it wants to tell you, okay? And it was just like, then he said, so over here we're going to go ahead and we're going to lace the strap in, and then the car's going to tell you what it wants to do, okay? And then it's just like, dude, yes, I get it. Like, I agree with
and
you.
Going with that, you look at people like Derek from Vice Grip Garage, and he has some choice catchphrases, but he knows not to use them all the time because it ruins their mystique or their value. So I think that's where Discovery kind of ruins a lot of things, is because they want Paul Senior throwing a chair across a room. That's what they want.
So where else?
So I'm not in Nova Scotia. I'm in New Brunswick.
Oh God, I'm going to hide under the table.
Yeah,
Nova Scotia,
exactly.
New Brunswick person being called Nova Scotian, that's sacrilege.
Yeah. So I mean, although we're close, we're just a kind of a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Is Nova Scotia, so
New Brunswick is Nova Scotia, but with more roadkill. That's key.
Non-Canadian question: is Nova Scotia its own province?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
Correct. We have 10 provinces, unlike your 50 states. And I bet I can name all 10. I bet I can name most of the 50 states, and you can't name all 10 provinces.
True.
He accepts that challenge.
I think I could get through 5. New Brunswick, Quebec, Ontario, British Columbia, Newfoundland. Is Nova Scotia Nova Scotia? That's where I'm gonna end. And you want me to make up 3 more just for the
make them up.
Yukon,
Yep.
Saskatchewan.
Yep.
I guess and the damn North Pole.
Sure. Although we do fight a silent war with Russia over the North Pole. It's not in the news, but we do constantly battle with them for the North Pole. Them and Denmark.
Santa Claus speaks Canadian, eh?
Correct.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, he's a nice guy, so obviously
Actually,
he's Canadian.
On that note, Grant, did you write letters to Santa Claus as a child? Was that a thing in the U.S.?
It is.
Okay. And how is it facilitated? Do you send it to your post office and they write a letter back to you?
You drop it off at the post office.
Okay.
Remember what the address was? Was it the North Pole? HOHOHO?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, see?
Canada, you're welcome. Our tax dollars at work.
Yeah. And if you think NORAD tracking Santa Claus on Christmas Eve is a thing, that's our tax
It is.
dollars at work right there. By
Yeah.
I tell you what.
Well,
You're welcome.
thank you guys, both of you.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Yeah, I forgot about Saskatchewan. So
So the ones that
you have
you missed was
Alberta,
Prince Edward Island,
Prince Edward Island, Manitoba,
I should have
Ontario.
I should have known both of those.
Northwest Territories.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
have gotten that.
None
And-
of it.
Nunavut is one that is fairly new. It only became a territory back in, what was it, 2008?
5? I don't
Yeah.
remember. Which is
So-
terrible because you guys shit on us Newfoundlanders. We joined in 49, and even though we're not the newest, the rest of Canada shits on us.
Yeah, but we're OG. We're OG here in the Maritimes.
Everybody's so used to throwing the shit your way that's like, well, really got to throw it somewhere else now? No.
No, Newfoundland gets it all, damn it.
Come
It's
on.
very expensive to ship shit north. It's very expensive. There's lots of shipping fees. It's easy to just send it to Newfoundland.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is the Northwest Territories? It's probably northwest of
It's north and west.
It's pretty easy Mexican spec, so it's just north and west. So
Yeah.
The Yukon Territory used to be basically pretty much right above British Columbia.
Yeah.
Right. So you had Alaska way off to the west, but Yukon was almost virtually right above BC. Everything east of Yukon was called Northwest Territories up until about 2005
5, 2008,
or whatever it was. And then they kind of split it down the middle, felt it was a thing.
Right.
And they said, okay, well,
Which it
Northwest
was.
Territories is like the prairies of the Arctic.
Right.
And then Nunavut was like, I mean, those 10 people figured they wanted a province. So they said, well,
It was like
you know,
the east. It was like the east coast of Canada.
Give us a
give us a territory. I mean, damn it.
Ice Road Truckers, anybody? Come on, give us a territory.
Discovery will not sponsor us unless we have a territory status.
Like, how do you
Uh,
want it to read in the credits? Damn it!
We've been
Oh,
canceled.
Nunavut was a part of Canada, but under a different name. Well, it was always part of Northwest Territories for years.
Ryan, I think what tonight only proves is that A, this has been a success, but B, I guess next year we have to, both Jason and I now have to come up and do this show from your room.
Correct.
Right?
Will that room
We have
hold a
very
Yankee?
strange. We have some very strange rituals we do to people who come from away, as we call them.
Screech.
So I would love to film that process.
Do you have Screech at your house?
Oh yeah, we all do. It's mandatory.
Mandatory.
If you don't, the screech police come and actually like arrest you and put you in prison.
It's like
Screech
it's like
Boys.
part of your property taxes.
Yeah, they check on, make sure you have.
All
So
right, well, I'm
for anyone
back
who doesn't know,
already.
there's a liquor. It's a rum-based liquor that we drink here in Newfoundland. Well, I don't drink it because it's terrible. It's called Screech, and literally the name comes from the fact that the person who drank it literally screamed in pain. It's just a Jamaican rum. We used to share our fish with the Jamaicans, and
Do
sort
they
of it was like
do they still have to kiss a cod? Like, is that
Yeah.
part of the? Yeah.
it's cod or a puffin, depending on.
the chaser. A
what you
puffin,
have
I'll
for your
take
choice.
puffin. I'll go puffin every day.
I'm totally going to get a frozen puffin
A dead
because we
one.
hunt them.
Hey, so when
They're-
we went
they're-
to Iceland last year, I mean, I ate fermented shark, 400
Oh, you
euro
ate what's it called?
sharks.
It's got a funny name on it in Iceland.
I don't know. Hooger Flugen,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Foss,
It stinks.
What was that again?
Hooger Flugen, Foss,
Hold on. Let me use the power of Google. to find what
waterfalls,
it's called.
but I end every word in Foss when I refer to that.
Yeah,
Who hasn't kissed a cod by now? I mean, bring up a good point.
I haven't.
Me neither.
I'm not close. I've never kissed. I've never even eaten cod. So,
Delicious.
mechanics made a good point. DD Speed Shop, Sobering Restoration, Half-Ass Customs, and himself are all in Manitoba. So
So what I would suggest they do is they do the Kansas Triangle thing where they sacrifice people and they are able to become YouTube stars. It works
Yeah.
for Hoovie's Garage. It has to work for Manitoba.
Weston Champlin.
Yep.
Watch JR
watch
go.
there go.
Watch Your
Yeah.
Go, Hoovie's
and
Garage,
the new one,
Car
the
Wizard,
Oh yeah, who was Hoovie's
Yeah.
mechanic or whatever?
Yeah.
and
But I guarantee you, none of those three know that I exist. So,
I will make sure that I make sure that they will know you exist.
Well,
Right.
if it's
problem
any
emailing them.
consolation, if it's any consolation, there's 2 Canadian YouTubers right here that know you exist, buddy.
what? No
And that means
way.
nothing in the US.
That guy right there.
And that guy right there. Hey, from Kansas to Canada. I mean, I feel like that's a shirt that we could probably.
We got to do that.
Yeah.
Speaking of shirts, where's the shirt that we created? You
Oh,
said you were going to make a beautiful shirt, and you never did.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Smog Pump Save Polar Bears.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry.
a
So, okay, all right. Here's
Tins.
what I need from you. Find the best picture you can, like a 3D
Oh, polar
picture.
bear? I will go outside right
No,
now.
no, no. Smog pump. Of a smog pump.
Oh, that's easy. Although most of my things have them deleted, so that will be kind of
I know.
hard.
Well, the same with the Fairmont. Like,
And how does the smog pump not look like a power steering pump? Because
okay,
they're very.
there we go.
Oh, there we go.
And what
Perfect.
here's how I would do it. Like, I'd probably.
That's a communist smog pump right there, boys.
I'd
He's
probably,
best.
it'd probably be like 3/4 angle, right? I'd want to make sure that there was a hose coming off of the end that looked like it was cut off, and
And a picture of a Newfoundlander choking.
We don't joke.
hey, the Bandit. Hey, thanks for dropping in, and we appreciate your support over all the years, and every episode any of you have joined, we appreciate it. Especially now we've been going for an hour and 41 minutes, and we're not really sure what the value is we're getting to at this point.
Well, I don't think we top much more than 20 people watching us at any given time. I feel bad for those people, but welcome
That's
to the
fine. I
show.
mean, those people want to be, bored. That's their choice.
I thought I saw maybe 27. Like it was, I think it's high 20s, but still it's a good time.
It should have been like 200s.
470.
What's the biggest number? Was it 107? When we had, what was it?
151.
51
yeah.
Is that-
Like that.
And who was that?
Yeah, Whale and Wire. Whale and Wire on his first appearance on our show.
Was that where he lit himself on fire on purpose or pretended to?
No, that's every day of his life.
Yeah.
That's why he put the space heater in the passenger seat so he could catch a little fire on the
Makes sense.
Yeah. Floor mat there.
Okay. Quick question. I'm gonna take over role of the half drunk interviewer. Favorite car that you don't currently own? Go.
Ooh. Favorite color I don't currently own. So that's
And it can be a dream car.
it's sort of like dream car.
Thank you, Charlo Garage, for the $9.99 super
Off the top
chat.
of your head, Jason,
Well,
to buy me time. Otherwise,
yeah. So the favorite car that I don't currently own that I have owned in the past,
No.
I have to
Dream
say, was probably the 81K car that I had.
Okay.
That some bitch was tough. Like, I owned that when I was probably 20 years old. And like, I rode that thing like it was a friggin' Camaro. Like, it was tough as nails.
So James May from Top Gear has a theory that the lower powered cars you can actually take to the ragged edge. Nobody wants to drive a Lambo at 200 miles an hour into a tree, but you will drive a K car at 75 miles an hour into a tree.
Yeah, there you go.
that's I'll buy into that because the 84 Ford Ranger that my dad owned that I learned to drive stick on, that was the diesel,
Purpose diesel.
yeah, whose 0 to 60 was slower than the quarter mile time. Still to this day, I've never done a better fishtail in a vehicle than that. And there's something about that era of Ford Ranger, or compact truck period, right? So like a Chevy Love, even a Chevy S10, like 80s Chevy S10. You were so low to ground. I mean, the sensation of driving one is like driving a go-kart. Even though it's slow as hell, there's still something about it that, like, you're so low to the ground, like you feel like you're driving fast when you really aren't.
It's go-kart. It's go-kart syndrome.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. But favorite car, I think dream car. Again, it's got to be a Ford product. I think the fish mouth, like the Bass fish mouth Ford Torino, like the 72 Ford Torino, is something I'd love to resto mod someday. So
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. What would you put in it for an engine? Would you do modern, like a 5 liter, or would you?
I think so. I have a theory. Like, I love doing weird stuff, as everybody knows, but like I'd love to EcoBoost swap
diesel.
certain things. But I think with a Torino, since it's such a big car and heavy, like there's something that just makes no sense about like small displacement in a car of that size. So I feel like I'd love to do, I mean, probably Coyote swap, or like that 6.2 liter version that Ford has.
Or what do they call it? A Godzilla engine?
Godzilla, yeah.
7.2?
Yes, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
It's
I think
$35,000, but it's a nice engine.
I think the idea of a EcoBoost in something old has merit, because you take let's go back to my 79 Cordoba, for instance. So those came stock with like 185 horsepower in a V8 on a car that weighed about 3,500 pounds.
And what's the displacement on the engine?
318.
What's the displacement on that one? Is it
Well,
5.7?
mine's a 360, but it came stock with a 318.
Gotcha. Okay.
But if you were to take like an EcoBoost in something that size, automatically you've got what, 310 horsepower or 300 whatever it is.
The 2.3 liters have 310. So I was thinking like 3.5 the V6.
But even still, you take an EcoBoost 2 point or whatever they are, 2.5,
the
2.7,
2.3,
310 horsepower in a 3,500 pound car. You're going to do two things. You're going to add approximately 33% horsepower from the stock engine, and probably 50% economy.
Yep, 100%.
Right? So you're going to be able to still smoke the tires off of it likely. It's not going to sound like a hot rod, but you'll be able to smoke the tires off it. And
you can fix that with an exhaust.
Still get 25 miles a gallon with it.
Wait, Ryan, okay, I'm going to recant a little bit for a second. Since it's a dream car and money's not an issue, I'd probably, and being straight six fan, I'd probably bear a swap of that Torino.
Fair
big
enough.
curb ski on the side of that 4 liter inline six.
The Australians got some really cool shit that we didn't get, and it's sad that we didn't get it.
Well, and not just engine wise, but you look at a lot of the cars that they've had, like in the 60s and 70s.
I would kill for you.
I would say late 70s, like as we're shutting down the muscle car era here, they were probably like 4 or 5 years delayed.
Yeah.
So their styling was still like up till about 77 was still like, dang, that's a pretty good looking car.
And what's cool about it is they didn't have very many two-door cars. Right. Yeah. So like you like here we had the Dodge Charger, but there they had the Dodge Charger with about 2 other names behind it, and it was a 4-door.
It's like last week's show.
Right?
Perfect.
So you're taking
practical and fun.
Well, you're just what you're doing is you're taking offbeat hot rodding to a whole nother level. They're making 4-door muscle cars look cool.
Or the way I would say it is that they were doing that well for decades, and I don't think 4-door hot rodding was cool until Dodge released the Charger here in the States.
But in Australia, they've been doing it for 30 years. Right?
Yes, Ryan.
I have a theory. I don't know if you've noticed that certain YouTubers will overly emphasize a particular platform in hopes of increasing the value of said platform. I think Grant does it with weird, crappy cars.
Yeah, well, I try to. Yeah, I try to weird.
He's like, this car's been on YouTube. It's worth at least $500 more.
Hey, now to be fair, like I made all of my money back in the Fairmont, and that even covered some of the mistakes I made on the car.
So you're doing better than Hoovie. So why aren't you at that level yet?
And those 10 videos he did fixing the brakes on that Fairmont,
So you had to.
like the ad revenue alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Bought me one brake pad.
Bought you one brake pad.
Not a pair of brake pads.
Yeah, not even a full set.
Not the front and
We're talking
the back
like the
side of the
left
caliper.
Yeah.
Just
throwing
just
shade. Throwing some shade. How many videos of fuel issues did you have? Did it pay for your new fuel pump?
God, those glasses.
You know what?
Slide off
Those
your
damn
face
glasses.
all night.
Is it me or is it hot in here?
All night.
Oh, shoot.
Oh my! These glasses just keep
Oh,
falling
wait, you know what's
down.
even better?
what's even better?
Is I've got access to having him on the show or not.
Oh,
Click
so
him
you
off just
dump
as
him,
quick.
Quick, hold on. I'll jump on your computer. 1 second.
Yes, the IT guy can hack my computer.
And he's back. That son of a.
Oh, shoot. So, having
What
said
do we
all
got
of
going in
that,
the chat? Anything? Is there anything in
having
the
said
chat?
all of that, I've only ran out of gas once by mistake. And it's real world TV. It's real world YouTube, guys. I recorded it because it was what was happening. I didn't make it up. I didn't fake
Okay, Paul Senior.
it.
Hold on, I'll get you a chair to throw.
Yeah, let's rip that door off its hinges while we're at it.
Speaking of that comment, though, that was I don't know. I'm just gonna change the subject for a second, or just go off the rails or whatever. But talking about all-time greatest moments on your own YouTube channel. So when I pulled the motor out of my my high school truck, my F-150 that my family bought back, and I don't know. My dad knows I like these car shows and all these things, and he made a reference to I caught him on camera saying, "He's like, hey, do I need to yell at you like Paul Senior right now or Steven?" And it was just for me, all time my dad was not a mechanic by any means, carpenter by trade. So he grew up in a big farm family, 8 siblings, and so his mom and dad basically predetermined for what each of the kid was going to specialize in. You're going to be the mechanic, you're going to be the carpenter, you're going to be this, everybody had their role. So my dad had no mechanic skills. So I don't have a ton of memories wrenching with my dad. And that at one of those episodes, actually, I don't think it was the pulling the motor episode. It was when we were taking parts off of my high school truck to put on their mom and dad's farm truck. I think I was swapping brake parts or something, ironically, full circle here. When he made that comment, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that made me thought about it. You said Paul Senior, and my dad, he had seen us watch American Chopper over the years, and he, he's like, this is fake. This is why is he yelling, whatever? But he's like, do I need to play that role? So,
Yeah. Gary Mathis says, I've gotten a lot of mileage out of that empty tank. So
miles to zero. Right?
miles to zero. So the funny thing about that, though, is there's a lot of people who know about me running out of gas in the truck. Jason Rock is one. Every time he's on the chat, he always makes it a point to tell us. Mortsky is one
Don't be a wank.
Don't be a wank. Fill the tank. So he's
which, by the way, just in general, as a society, we need to use the word wanker more often.
Yes, not
that's
just
what I learned from my Aussie friends.
Not just the English. We need to use wanker.
Yeah,
I agree. So, don't be a wank. Fill your tank came out of me running out of gas, and every once in a while, I will catch an episode of Mortsky, and when he's putting gas in a car or a vehicle he's trying to get running, he always makes it a point to say, "Oh, by the way, yeah, don't be like old car guy. Don't be a wank. Fill your tank." So it's still a thing, and same thing with Luke,
now,
Coastal Auto Reaction. He
well,
does the same thing.
Hold on a second. Isn't that, and we'll get to you in a second, right? But isn't that actually pretty cool?
I heard tell him a teacher.
Isn't that pretty cool to have another YouTuber create almost like a catchphrase on your behalf? You're getting a reference every time. You're getting free advertising from them. It's you know what? Fine. I'll run out of gas more often. If more ski repair is give me a shout out every 4th video.
Yeah,
it's worth it to run out of gas more often. But go ahead,
which is fine.
Only if he tags you in the actual video, though. That's key.
Yeah. So is there copyright laws in Canada where you can be hey, that's fine. You can call me out, but you gotta mention me in the description.
Yeah.
I have a 2-part question.
Okay.
It's a 2-part question. One, actually, it's a statement. Welcome to Tukes and Tires. I've been following Tukes and Tires for a while now, ever since they won runner-up on the the International COVID Car Show. So Tukes and Tires actually asks, what do you prefer, LS or small block Chevy? Of course, I'm going to answer Volkswagen diesel because
Because he's a freaking idiot.
But second question, I don't remember what I was going to say. I've had too much rum. But go ahead, small block or LS.
I'll take
And
the lead on this one.
Go for it. Yeah. I
So-
think I know where I'm going to go with it, though, too.
I'll take the lead on this one. So only because I have a small block Chevy in an original 77 Chevy C10, the right answer would be small block Chevy, right?
It is the writing. It's for those of you scoring at home, the correct answer. No.
Yeah. If you're scoring yourself as a home, the right answer is small block Chevy. But for those purists who are haters who really decide it's time to make a decision, the LS engine, despite what anybody says, whether you're brand dependent or not, LS is A, reliable, it's B, fuel efficient, and C, has all the power capability for a hot rod you will ever need.
And D, it tells you how much fuel you have in your tank.
Bum, bum, ba-dum.
Wait a minute. We're going Jerry Springer here. Fuck off, Ryan.
And that's, folks, how you know we've gone off the rails at the Car
We've
Guys.
totally gone off the rails of the Car Guys Sixfan Show. The F-bomb has been dropped not once, but twice tonight.
Do you
By
guys-
me, of all people. What the
They were
hell?
hiding in his beard.
They're hiding.
So
Yeah,
the LS is the king of the junkyard. The LS is the king of the junkyard engine right now. The small block was the king previously. It lost its title. We can agree on that. What do you think the next engine will be? Do you think it'll be the EcoBoost 2.3? Will it be? Will there be a new champion? I mean, the LS's days are numbered. So what will be the next junkyard revival engine? I guess
Okay, two-part answer. Because
it's going to be Ford, isn't it?
I want to take this first question from Tukes and Tires. I'm going to backdoor into small block Chevy. I was thinking about the Grand Prix build, and I think I'm going to sell this before I get too far into the project. But I was always thinking, like, the approach I wanted that project to be was if John DeLorean didn't go off on his own in 1979 and wanted to try to, like, stick around and get one more, like, claim to fame for this car. And
The DeLorean is beautiful. Do not
no.
smirk.
I don't have a problem with the DeLorean. I'm just saying, like, if he was still at Pontiac, right, in 1979,
Right.
instead of going out on his own. And then he catches wind of what Buick's trying to do with the Grand National, and he's like, well, I'm going to one-up those sons of bitches, right? Like, so I would either 4200 Vortex swap the thing and put a turbo on it, or I've always thought, like, well, shoot, the 4.3 liter V6, which is a small block Chevy minus 2 cylinders, why not? Like, I just feel like it would be pretty easy to find one of those in a junkyard, build it, throw a turbo on it. And like Power Nation, like, did that. They made a, and they weren't even like getting crazy with their piston selection when they were doing it. Like, they were just trying to show, here are basic principles for rebuilding a motor when you rebuild it. And we're just, by chance, they did the 4.3 liter V6. Then they threw a turbo on it, and then they made over 500 horsepower easy. And I'm like, that's a pretty cheap and effective way to do something different and throw it in a car. And again, all the inner workings of it are small block Chevy. But I'd love to have somebody on the show who is all LS, everything, whatever, and just have them break down the anatomy of what makes an LS so successful. For me, it's head design. It's how well the heads flow. I think they have 6 bolt mains where they, like, there's 2 bolts underneath
And then 2 from the side.
or 4 underneath, and 2 from the side. So, like, that's going to keep you pretty, like, sure for a long time. And then Ryan, all right, go ahead. Because
I would suggest, because Tukes and Tires is awesome, that you possibly have Tukes and Tires on the show at some point in the future and have him explain why he LS swapped a panel van recently. And it's awesome.
So Tukes and Tires, if you're still there in the chat, make sure you connect with me on Instagram, and we'll make sure that we try and get you in. I think we've got
season 9. What the hell? That sounds weird.
That does season 9. So season 9 for us will start the second week in January, the second Thursday, I think it is.
Yeah, or first Thursday after
It's-
the I don't know.
It's usually like the 8th or 9th or 10th of January, somewhere around there. We'll try and get you in the new year with an interview and talk a little bit about what you're doing over in your channel. Another great Canadian channel, by the way. So make sure you hit me up on Instagram. We'll try and connect at some point and try and schedule you for an interview for sure.
I'll also point out I found Tubes and Tires through DBoss. DBoss did the International Car Show, and that's how I actually found Tubes and Tires. So, those type of events are really important for finding other cool YouTubers in your area. So, yeah, thoroughly enjoy Tubes and Tires stuff. So I recommend everybody go right now, and subscribe to his channel.
Absolutely.
Do it now.
Ryan, your question though before I went backwards was, what's the next big future engine swap opportunity?
I think it's 2-liter turbo Volkswagen engines, but I know I'm going to be wrong.
It probably isn't a 2-liter Volkswagen.
It's a 1.9 TDI. No, I'm just kidding.
If I had to answer the question about that second question is what's the next big? So LS will be around for a while, but for whatever reason, if LS does just kind of disappear out of the junkyards and they're just not there anymore, I still think that it would be a toss up between the Hemi and the Coyote, but the Hemi
probably more.
The Hemi is something that was produced in more vehicles than the Coyote.
Yeah.
And they just tend to be a little bit more.
This guy, he'll ask the question, then 2 seconds.
Sorry.
Do you want me to answer the question or not?
I should have prefaced it by saying not a V8. We're talking like 10 years in the future when V8s don't exist anymore. What's the new junkyard swap?
How many years in the future?
10, 15, 20 years in the future. Jets and cars are flying around. Tesla is king of the world. What is
okay, so if it's not a V8,
I
think it's an EcoBoost.
I think it has to be the 3.5
EcoBoost. Well, 3.5 or 2.7. I don't know how many 2.7s are out there, but 3.5 seems to be the big thing. But
depending on the era of the 2.7, the 2.7s had some problems. Like the Bronco, we were talking about my brother's Bronco. Like the 2.7s there have a big issue. And I can't remember exactly what it is. It was a supply chain issue.
They're chilled cams, is it? I think it's cams, isn't it, that they're eating up?
Man, I don't think so, but it's like they cheaped out on one part. It may be even like chain tensioners or something for the cams or something like that. Yeah. Like as simple as that. And so I think the 3.5's been around longer. And
oh no, I've got the answer.
More widespread.
I've got the answer.
4.2 liters.
Pentastar 3.6.
Oh yeah. Of course. I haven't cracked the hood on the rental car to see what it is, but it's got really good power.
It's going to be the 3.6. So the reason why I say Pentastar 3.6 is...
Oh, sorry, I'm confusing for...
Is the
3.7 that sucked? Like Dodge had a V6 that was
I agree with
liters off.
I agree with Tukes and Tires. Tukes and Tires says the supercharged engines are the Cobalts. So those 2-liter turbocharged or supercharged engines, I think they might be the answer.
I don't know. Even Turlo says the 2ZZ out of the Toyotas. I mean,
go Japanese.
Possibly, but the 1NZ 4-cylinder, 108 horsepower. That's what I've got in the Echo. It's going to go in the Yugo. I just realized both of those cars ended in O.
Looky there.
Echo and Yugo. Anyways, so yeah, 4-cylinder. It's a tough call. That's a great question. That's really a great question about what's the next big thing. That's not a V8.
And lots of people are jumping in the chat here and saying that it's it's electric engines. It's the first gen Tesla. It's the first gen Leaf. It's the first gen whatever. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe that is the answer. It's the first gen whatever.
I think it is. I mean, if you on it. I mean, I'm going to set aside the blue oval for a second, but so in Kansas, sports gambling became legal this past September. So I've been betting on college football like every week. So if you're asking me to place a bet on EcoBoost versus electric motor, I think I have to put my money on the electric motor for future motor swap.
Well, again, we're talking what you said 10 years out, right?
Yeah, 10, 15 years out, whenever, the
So-
LS kind of came around, in the last 10
Okay,
years.
so let's take into consideration how many of what engine has been produced.
The 1.8 out of the Toyota, there's lots of those. So you might be right, Jason.
Yeah, 1.8 in the Toyota has been produced since since the early 2000s. So that engine's been around for 20 years.
Yeah.
In front wheel drive configurations.
Well, regardless, you could
Well,
think of it
I
as
know,
turn it
but-
into a rear wheel drive. Enough.
But I just don't see the hot rodding scene going crazy about going and plucking a front wheel drive motor and then doing an adapter plate and finding a transmission and to make. I don't know. It seems like you got to eliminate some steps there for it to be
For the power, for these like you're going through all that work, it seems like you're probably going to go electric because you get way more power for all that work. Right? Does that seem? You're doing an adapter plate. You're doing probably a new transmission. So it just seems like it's easier to get an electric engine and get lots of power.
We're forgetting one big thing. He said next big engine that's not a V8. Inline 6.
Well, yeah, but
Cummins 6 BT.
I was going to say 5.7 liter Cummins or 5.9 liter Cummins.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
4 BT.
that's a pretty easy. Yeah.
Well, it is. I mean, it's like what's everybody going to right now
Yeah.
for
And that's not gonna
pure raw
die.
power? That'll never die.
Especially with like the outlook of, neither of us want to admit that this might be a prospect, but they just outlaw fossil fuels. Well, diesels, biodiesel,
Yeah.
right? You can go make your own fuel.
Yeah, just pull up to
Right.
the local McDonald's and fill up type
Yeah.
of thing, right? So
Yeah, that might be the answer.
I think we're thinking too hard that
The
it's
answer's
just
already
because
there.
just because we eliminated V8, right? You get the 2JZ inline 6. You got the Mercedes OM 606 or 600 series diesel engines. You've got the Cummins 6 BT. Like all these engines and the Atlas 4200 6 liter
4.2.
or 4.2 liter, 6 cylinder. Like they're just so much potential.
I actually think those could become a lot more mainstream than what any of us think they could. And I'll like complete shout out to Calvin or Nivlak
Yep.
57. Like I don't know that whole line of motors is as popular as it could ever be without him.
Well, but the part of that is in North America, they weren't widely used. I don't think there's as many of those out there as there are, certain other
Great point.
engines.
I will say, like, so before Ryan told us it had to be a non V8, I will say, like, from in my days of Fairmont forums and stuff, like following all the whole Fox Body group, how many times, I don't know how many times I saw somebody write the phrase coyote swap truck motor, meaning like they're finding the 5 liters and they're coming from F-150s. Like I do think coyote swaps are going to be pretty popular as time plays out.
Yep.
But
But you also got to go back and look, where was the 5 liter? Like, where did it come from? What engines what vehicles were they put in? Trucks and Mustangs.
yeah,
Right.
but F-150 selling such high, ridiculous
Well,
numbers.
they do. It's just like an LS, right? Same idea.
Yeah.
So how do you get away from the V8 aspect? What engine was more massively produced than the LS or the Hemi or the Coyote?
I
would
guess
say
it's hard for me to
North
find.
America is probably the V6 out of the Dodge Caravan. How many Dodge
Well,
Caravans
yeah.
are going around?
The Pentastar V6, 3.6, right out of the gate in a Caravan, 285 horsepower.
Strap
Doesn't
turbo.
mean they
on
were
it.
muscle car engines.
No.
Did they have their issues? They had a few, but 285 horsepower. You go and you stick that thing in a small little 25.
You put that in the U-Haul and you
car.
can scream.
Exactly. You get yourself a freaking hot rod.
What do you think, Ryan? What's your choice for them. Most likely
It's
none.
honestly for me. I think it's whoever the aftermarket ECU providers decide to fall on. So if Haltech and Holly decide to go with the Pentastar, perfect. If they decide to go with the 2-liter Cobalt engine, perfect. It all depends because right now the standalone ECUs cause a lot of problems, or not the standalone. Sorry, the factory ECUs are the issue, right?
Well, it's right to information on those things, right? Like the GM, or not GM, the manufacturers aren't giving up access to.
Correct. It's the right to repair,
Exactly.
which is a big argument right now in Congress, right?
Yeah. So if you can get away from that right to repair issue and start producing your own programming, whatever, for the 3.6 or for the 4.3 or for whatever it is, then you've got yourself an instant hot rod in something that's as easily accessible as an LS.
I just think where the majority of the hot rod hobby is, and it's based in the kind of two areas. It's either the muscle car era, or it's like the old school hot rod, the 30s, like Fords.
Yeah,
it's basically the two big drivers for the hot rod scene. Most everything's rear wheel drive, and I think that for the next big motor swap, again, I think you can't have like 3 steps to make it a easy motor swap. Like
right.
having to convert a transaxle motor, a motor that was always for a transaxle, get an adapter plate, throw a transmission of your choice behind, then find a special ECU. That's too many steps. I think
I will, however, point out the
already
3D printing aspect. So I've been working on a lot of 3D printing stuff recently, and the people who are pushing the 3D printing realm, I think adapter plates are going to be super simple now in the future with 3D printing and or CNC machining. So I think that is probably going to be less of a problem than the ECU will be, right?
Yeah.
But I hear you.
Yeah, no, I don't think the adapter plate's not the most difficult piece, but if you can't, when you're pulling the motor, if you can't also pull the transmission at the same time, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Like I've got to source an engine, I've got to source a transmission, I've got to source a adapter plate and an ECU. Like you got to eliminate. I mean, that's 4 things, right? Like, so whichever one's 2, I think most hot rodders are going to go after the thing that's 2 instead of 4.
Right. I'm just wondering, like in 15, 20 years time, when V8 parts, we'll say, are a little bit more harder to find than they currently are, what's going to be the next swap? As terrible as this is, I think it's going to be first-gen Tesla stuff because there's going to be so much of it, or first-gen whatever, whether it's Mach-E or whatever Ford or Volkswagen is doing. One of those things is going to be the most of it, and they're going to be the one that people, again, you got the RGB kids, the gamer kids who love to get on the computer and hack. They're going to be the ones who, I guess, continue this this field or this hobby. They're going to be the ones who say, I'm going to take that Tesla motor, I'm going to put in my dad's old 79 or 72 Nova, and we're going to make 1,000 horsepower, and we're going to smoke the tires off it. And I'm going to do my little with the computer, and it's going to be awesome. Right?
Well, Ryan, I want to flip your question into a little different department. Kind of same line of questioning, but a little different angle. What's the next big platform of like cars that already kind of have that recipe baked in? What do you think the next big popular platform is?
I'm going to say rear-wheel drive and probably Dodge. So whatever Dodge is currently doing that's rear-wheel drive. So whether it's a 1500 truck or whether it's a what they call the Magnum, that old, they've been around for 10 plus years now, but that platform, whatever that platform is with the Charger,
like that early 2007 Charger ish.
Yeah. I think that's going to, because they're cheap now. I mean, with I guess, back that up. Before the ridiculousness that is the current used car market, they were cheap, they were affordable. You get them with a 5.7, and if you didn't have a 5.7, you could put a 5.7 on them. So, I think the Dodge stuff here in Newfoundland, stuff rots so quickly that most people just buy new cars. So, we have the largest Ford dealership in Atlantic Canada. We sell more Fords here than we do anywhere else in Atlantic Canada. So, and we have a quarter of the population. So that should tell you something. We have 2 point something cars per person. So,
All right, so fine. Bad person asked the question too. How about you, Jason? What
I
do you
mean,
think?
I think the 5 liter is a great platform. You know, barring my father-in-law just had to do, he has 2 F-150s. One's a 2016, one's a 2018, and he had to do cam phasers on both of them. You know, but it's easier. You don't have to haul the engine out now, which is kind of nice. It's like, oh, they were nice to the technicians. They didn't require an engine or the front of the engine to be tore down to replace the units. So that's kind of cool. But you know, it's still a 10-hour job at whatever it is per hour. It's not cheap, but you know, they seem like good engines. I think the cylinder deactivation is what kills them. So you know, as soon as you can turn that crap off, the better you are. But you know, 5 liters, nice engine. I've got a few friends who have Mustangs. You know, they bought the real Mustang. They got the 5 liter in it. And
Shots fired.
sorry. Pew pew.
Well, you know, when
No,
you talk about what the next big platform is, it's different today than what it was even maybe just 10 years ago. Because 10 years ago, you look at it, you say, oh yeah, well, shoot, it was the Magnum or it was a Panther, because Panthers were still there.
Yeah.
Right
You
now,
always go to the Panthers, that ancient platform.
Yeah, but realistically, you know, you got to look at the reality of things. You know, Panther platforms were the perfect rear-wheel drive, full body frame, body on frame design, but they just don't do that anymore. They got away from that. They've gone to everything's unibody nowadays. And
is there anything other than trucks that is frame right now? Nothing, is it? Everything's unibody.
I don't believe so. No.
Yeah.
You know, we look at what
vans maybe.
Well, even
which is a truck.
Even your full size vans are all unibody.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like a Sprinter van maybe, but like
Sprinter. No, it's all unibody.
Still making.
There's no frame in the Sprinter.
No, Sprinters are unibody.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is like I think GM still makes like a full size van, but it's on a truck chassis.
No, even there, GM, the G body vans from the 70s, mid 70s on till today have all been front wheel drive, or have all been not front wheel drive, but have all been unibody frame.
Unibody. Except, and they've interchanged leaf spring and coil spring depending on
even in the 70s they were unibodies.
Okay, we'll trust you.
You need to watch more of Steve Miante's Junkyard Crawl.
Yeah,
he done a whole series
they make
on
like
vans.
3/4 ton vans still.
Yep, they still do.
But
they're still unibody construction.
Unless you do like the half cuts, which are like 3,500.
Like Rutledge Wood built a panel van on top of maybe it was a 2,500 Silverado chassis. But
so when you get into cab and chassis type vans, then they had full frames for like 1 ton, 3 ton.
Yeah,
like my cube van that I have,
basically the truck chassis.
Yeah.
My 2002 cube van is a 2,500 with the front cut off it, and then they put a cube on the back of it, right? And it's like an extended frame, and it's rusty as crap, and it's a piece of shit. But right now, it's still a cube.
But if it was a standard half ton, it was built on a unibody platform.
Or it would have been unibody. Yeah.
Well, Ryan, I just wanted to tell you thanks for helping us ruin your Friday night. Is what I wanted to say.
I was just going to have to watch a movie with the wife. So,
well, I'm glad we could help with that.
Yeah.
What movie?
Some new Netflix movie. I don't know which one we were going to watch, but I'm sure it was fine. I actually have to finish watching the Lord of the Rings TV show now because I'm a big nerd.
I'm just throwing this out there. If there's anybody who is interested or follows any of the superhero type Marvel DC movies, there's a new one on Netflix called The Boys.
Yeah,
if you haven't watched it, like I don't follow the Hulk and all that BS, but The Boys on Netflix is like I'm into like episode 8 or 9, and I'm
what season? What season are you into yet?
Just the first season.
Okay, wait till you see Jensen Ackles from Supernatural. He adds a level of hilariousness to the show. That's
wow. even though it's a Netflix series, I don't want to say star-studded cast, but there's a lot of names you're going to recognize.
Yep.
The it's very high budgeted movie. So the graphics and the special effects aren't like
Done really
chintzy. They're good. It's good quality. Like it's movie quality.
Sure.
So, anyways, if you're not watching it, make sure you check
Funny
it out.
little side note. Do you know Elon Musk? Or not Elon Musk?
I do. I know him.
I know him personally. Yeah, I had him over.
Yeah, I
the
know.
We were actually hanging with him earlier.
Weird fellow. No, the guy, what's his name? Jeff Bezos paid over $1 billion to make the new Lord of the Rings.
That was last week.
Yeah.
He what now?
It's good. He paid over $1 billion to make the new Lord of the Rings.
Good for him.
$1 billion with a B.
You know what? So I'm probably the oldest guy here.
Okay. Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm 36. I think Grant is about 22. And you're about what, 700? You're like Gandalf, right? You've come back 2 or 3 times.
I don't even get the reference.
The
See?
beard.
So
Are you Gandalf the White or Gandalf
I've
the
never
Lord of
I've
Very
never
big difference.
watched a Lord of the Rings movie.
Gray? What?
Never.
Oh my God! It's good versus evil. It's the Bible, but interesting.
Where you need to know.
Yeah. Good versus evil. So was Days of Thunder.
Come on.
Yeah, true.
So,
You know,
Turlo.
So
I'm
is-
21.
So
Bullshit.
tagging Talladega Nights. It was good versus evil.
Talladega
How many
Nights.
times are 21?
Shake and bake.
Shake
and bake.
So speaking of Lord of the Rings, for me,
Do we have to continue with Lord of the Rings? This is a car show.
no,
Hey, listen, it's
not
a
really gonna
democracy.
be-
2 of us like Lord of the Rings. You have to listen to it.
it's not really going to be about Lord of the Rings, but it kind of is. I have a tendency to only get 2/3 of the way through trilogies. And Lord of the Rings is one of those things. One where I watched the first one, liked it, watched the second one, I'm like, nah. Then the third one came out, I'm like,
Screw
nah.
it.
So, like Back to the Future, seen all 3. I
Yeah.
think most every other trilogy that's out there only made it to 2.
Grant, does that mean that if you buy a third G body, you'll just like leave it to rot in the backyard?
Pretty much.
Well, the trick is the first one was a Fox body, the second was a G body. So
Right.
you need
You got 2 more G bodies before one
Yeah.
rots. in the
Okay,
backyard.
So the next
whoa.
one.
Whoa. We gotta in the chat poll, there's 19 of you there. We need 19 answers. Who pulled it off better? Ford with the Fox body or GM with the G body?
That's a good one. I like that.
Because
I'm going to go with Volkswagen with the air cooled.
shut up,
C.
Ryan.
Nobody's gonna answer that, but fine, you
Yeah.
can say
So
it.
C. Basically, what Ryan's saying is C. None of the above. Anyways, I say that
C,
jokingly,
pity party.
but I say that jokingly, but tongue in cheek. The Fox body covered a variety of platforms.
Yeah.
From Lincoln, Mercury, and Ford.
What was the
As
first?
did-
Mercury? Was it
well,
Mercury was the first Fox body?
Fairmonts, I think, were the first.
Fairmont. Okay.
Well,
I'm
the-
sure they made Zephyrs. At
the
same
Fox body Mustang, the first Fox body Mustang came out in 78.
79.
Was it 79?
But wasn't somebody doing it before on the same platform? Like was it Mercury or a Cougar or something? Was one that before the first Fox body? Or am I just remembering that wrong?
Probably
Ryan's
wrong.
opinion doesn't count. Okay. Can't pronounce Leica properly.
Yeah, so Mexican Spec says the Fairmont was the first Fox body, so that would have been 78. Mustang come out in 79 as a Fox
Yep.
body. So either way you look at it, Fox body is a pretty dominant platform for Ford.
And it ran to what, 92?
93, I think was last year for the Fox body
For the
Mustang.
Mustang.
That's a
Mark
pretty good run
7
for a
would've moved on
single
time.
body type.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good run for a single body type. Like, what's that, 13 years, 12 years?
Well, and from what I understand too, so the next platform, the SN95, it really wasn't that different from a Fox body. Like
Right.
there's a ton of similarities between the Fox body and the SN95.
And I'm not much of a Mustang or a Ford guy, but I do know that when they went from what they classify as Fox to SN95,
Turbo's the same thing.
it's very, very, very similar.
Yeah. So Turlo's is agreeing there or saying the same thing. Yeah.
Did any of the Fox body stuff make its way into the Panther platform? I feel like it probably did.
The rear end maybe.
It'd be
Okay.
interesting to kind of know the widths
Yeah.
Well, and so the Panther had the links.
Well,
watt
so well,
or
but
watts.
but only from from 02 on. So
Okay.
like if so this Lincoln over here, 97, had the same rear differential as what you put in your Fairmont.
Yeah, I wonder if like the trailing arms probably wouldn't
The
necessarily.
trailing arms were from the center out.
Yeah,
out
that's
of
what I'm
I
talking
know
about.
in the
Like, so
was
the
it
links would maybe be different.
But it
what's it
wasn't
called?
until it wasn't until what was here? 02? 02 or 3 where they changed the front and rear suspension, where the rear
Right.
suspension had a Watts link and a 4 link versus what you had on your Fairmont. And then yeah, it was a little bit different. The axle itself was all pretty much the same idea. But
Well, an
they-
8.8, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
8.8, but the way they connected to the vehicles at the time for in the Panther platforms, they went to a 4 link right out to the very edge. And the earlier ones, they had like those bars that came from the top
And we're diagonal.
and more diagonal.
Okay.
So they were a little bit different. And I think 02 was the model year change.
Yes, Ryan.
question for you? I know that Motor Trend. I can't remember the name of the actual series. It's the one with Tony Angelo and Lucky Costa.
Hot rod.
Hot Garage. Thank you. They took a F100 from like 1975, I think, and put it on the body of a
Yeah.
2008 Panther platform. But they bolted on a bunch of like 5-liter parts to the engine. So, is there some similarities between the engine and the 4 point whatever 3 or 2 or whatever it was in the Crown Vic and the 5-liter that would have been enough Mustang?
I
They
think
put it like an
I think you're partially incorrect.
Okay.
They did put like a
Usually-
supercharger and headers off of a Mustang onto that 4.6, but they were off of it. They were designed for 4.6 liter Mustangs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Okay,
So
that makes sense.
As far as I know,
same era 2 valves.
same era 2 valves, but as far as I know, the 4.6 and the 5-liter virtually share nothing.
Right. It's a
Okay.
push rod motor and overhead cam motor.
Yeah. So
But I do know, like I know the episodes you're talking about, Ryan. So they had to like I think relocate the alternator maybe and they had to
Yeah.
like flip the supercharger. Like the supercharger wanted to be on a certain way for a
The-
Mustang,
Intake was flipped around. I think they flipped the intake,
something like
which
that.
was
Yeah.
probably a supercharger, right? So
And maybe these are
It
good
was
questions for next week's guest.
yeah. So if you guys are watching now, there's still 17 of you here. So next week,
Somehow, I don't know how they
Yeah.
hung on this one.
how you've been hung on this one. So next week we've got ADTR. So if you guys don't know who that is, they are the leader in Panther platform performance parts, suspension, exhaust, engine, intakes. So
sounds
that's what they specialize in is Panther platforms.
like Jason is trying to get a freebie or maybe like a
No,
Come on.
no. Like, so this was totally all Grant. Grant's the one that arranged
sure.
the interview.
Hey, all right. You know what? Let me pull out the phone.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I mean, what happens.
Right. If you get a sponsorship,
Discounts
it's,
are given out.
But yeah, so ADTR is the ones that are going to have 100% have the ins and outs on
Knowing if like there's any crossover with the
crossovers or
Fox
similarities and stuff like that.
Cool. Will they fix timing chain issues?
So it's funny you bring that up. So like one thing that the Panther platforms in that 4.6,
Boom. Nobody's gonna actually be able to read that, but trust me.
Yeah, I can read it. Yeah. Perfect. You got your bank account information there. Perfect.
Yep, that's it. That's all you need.
Perfect.
yeah. So one thing about the Panther platforms that I'm learning is with zero maintenance, they'll last about 300,000 to 400,000 kilometers. So you're doing an oil change, not on a regular basis, blah, blah, blah. You know, you might go 5,000 kilometers one way, 10,000 the next, and you're just not regular. You're at a 300,000 to 400,000 kilometer engine with regular maintenance, taxis, police cars. you're at 700,000 before things like timing chains become an issue. So what I've gathered with the Lincoln is somebody rebuilt the short block and decided to throw everything else back on it. And it didn't last. So right now it's got all new timing chains, gears, tensioners, and that thing in theory with regular maintenance should last another 500,000 to 700,000.
Perfect. Unless the rot gets to it.
Unless
we
the
live
what?
in Canada.
The
The
rot.
rot.
Oh, the raw.
The raw.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll get
Do
it
you,
under.
actually, I'll go back to that. What do you use in your shop for fluid film? Do you use fluid film, or are you using a particular brand?
Well, we don't do any undercoating at all retail
Really?
wise.
Okay.
It's a messy job, and if you're doing it inside the shop, it's messy. We do have a product. It's called corrosion free. It's the
Okay,
same,
so what? Yep.
same
Good
product
stuff.
that Canadian Tire uses.
Yep.
It's no drip. It's clear. It's a great product. It creeps.
And for 4 easy installments in 1995, that can be yours.
Hold on. Now, Grant, you can't talk about rust. You can just go to sleep right now while the American or the Canadians talk about rust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about what we know, Ryan.
All right, here we go.
I've actually to that extent, I've actually used a product or made a product that Musty One. I don't know if you follow Musty One on YouTube. He's an air-cooled Volkswagen guy. I'm sure you don't particularly care.
He was part of the guy who got me into YouTube, the Greg's Garage Circle, Musty One, and like he's done like motorized bicycle builds and yep.
He's crazy. So everybody in the chat, if you're not already subscribed to Musty One, I certainly recommend you go over there and tell him we sent you, because he has no idea who we are, so he'll be really, really confused. So yeah, Musty One uses a mixture of chainsaw bar oil and linseed oil for his undercoating, and he drives a 1969, I think it is, Carmen Ghia in the winter. It's a complete beater, but it's an air-cooled Volkswagen that he drives in the winter in Vermont. So, question?
No, I just have a statement. We've been going at this for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's
There's still 13 people here.
And for some reason, there's still 13 people here.
So who the masses are.
The idea for tonight's show was to go 2 hours.
Yeah.
But between the
I say we
people
go to 3.
Yeah.
and the drinks, it's time to call it quits, I think, for this
think
episode.
So. I think the bladder's telling me, it's like, come on, guy.
And we didn't even play a game of pool.
We did not.
So we may have a game of pool before we go to bed. But Ryan, thanks for joining in and kind of being a little bit of relief for us tonight.
Yeah.
The sober one.
Yeah, because this was awkward.
I am
We
not
didn't
sober.
have anything to talk about.
This was full when I started.
Oh, look what we did to him.
We're sorry.
There's that much gone.
Yeah, we should see the empties kicking around here. Anyways,
It was most American beer, so it's fine. It's like horse piss. It's like 2% alcohol.
no. We're into the good Canadian stuff tonight.
Oh, good, perfect, good.
James ready.
Brian, make sure when you stand up, you brace yourself. I know you're not used to Canadian beer, and you will fall on your ass.
Okay.
Just a heads up.
Fair enough.
It's only about probably 50, 60
10 feet to the air mattress.
50, 60 feet to the house. We're
Door to
fine.
door.
We're fine. Anyways,
Now the stairs.
the stairs, we've only got 5 stairs, but
We'll cross that bridge.
they're
when
still
we get there.
stairs. So, Ryan,
Well, thankfully, Canada has free health care, so you should be fine.
did you buy travel insurance?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
sorry.
going to want that.
So we can get you at least to the Callis Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's the beauty
Ryan,
of where we're at.
thanks for joining in, being a little bit of comic relief and helping us out with the show tonight.
Anytime.
Thank you to all the 14 people who are still in the chat who have stuck with us all night.
We gained one.
To be.
Thanks for Andy.
Oh yeah, and Andy for popping in. I don't know if he's been popping in here left and right.
He's making fun of my Volkswagen choices. I'm not
He wants me to
impressed.
drink another beer, and I don't know, but we'll see.
It'll probably happen. So, This might be an episode of the Car Guy and Six Fan Show that probably will not
Live on forever.
live on forever. But nevertheless,
I mean, we'll keep it up for 24 hours for sure.
at least 24
Guaranteed.
hours to get the monetary value out of it.
And then we're like, "Ooh."
We'll watch it again tomorrow and decide whether or not we want to leave it there.
Yeah.
Ryan, yes, sir.
Can I suggest that after we finish this, you and Grant go and do some tweaking on a carburetor while intoxicated? I feel like that would be fantastic video content.
Shit, I don't think I have a carburetor to work on.
Oh well, I can clear one up for you.
We'll find one for Grant to screw up.
Do you have a snowblower? Just do the snowblower.
How rich do you want it to run?
Do you want your eyes to tear up?
Yeah. So like Ryan was mentioning snowblower. Like I can make your carburetor seem like you have a 2-cycle motor.
Right?
We're gonna be putting a lot of white smoke out of that tailpipe. So
Anyways, guys, thanks for joining the Car Guy and Six Fan Show with this special episode on a Friday evening, the 2.5-hour special. I hope we didn't offend anybody. I hope
We probably did.
you join
I hope we did.
next week. It's going to be back on my channel again next week because Grant, well, he's friggin' here.
yeah,
So
gotta recover. It's gonna take me a week to recover.
you can take a week to recover from tonight. And we've got ADTR, the Panther platform guys, going to be on the show. So make sure you join in for that. Lots of great content coming. We didn't even talk about our own channels as far as what's coming and going because
There's nothing.
there's
Coming.
nothing coming.
Yes.
We're just
I have a thing.
One more.
One more question.
We have a tractor now.
Oh, I have a tractor.
A 1953, I think, International. I don't know tractors. Sean's working on it. The video should drop shortly.
There you go.
Okay.
Tractor video coming soon on Everything is Broken Garage. If you guys are not subscribed, head on over there right now to Everything is Broken Garage and check out Ryan and Sean and see what they've got going on today. So thank you so much for being a part of the Car Guy and Six Fan Show for this special intoxicated episode. And we'll see you guys
Under the influence.
under the influence. So we'll see you guys next week. Look, he's right out of the bottle. What's he
You
doing?
gotta click another.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.